Good morning, Xbox. Yes, welcome everybody to the 32nd edition of Good Morning Xbox. I think I put down 33 on my Twitter handle, but yes, we're at number 32 on a Dynamite episode. This is going to be, it's been a crazy whirlwind kind of week, the kind of week that just wakes up and slaps you. And I think most of us are still recovering from the big news that dropped. I do believe it was Tuesday morning, if memory serves me correctly. Unbelievable stuff. I'm pretty sure I don't have to beat around the bush. Everybody pretty much knows what's been going down behind Cerebral Paul. You can pretty much get your take on that. And that is the big boys at Microsoft pulled out the bank account again. And they decided to basically make an acquisition for Activision Blizzard, who've had, some troubles recently, at least from a public perception kind of deal. Their games obviously are some of the biggest in the world. This was a huge acquisition, still to be finalized. Obviously, the ink is not dry. They're working through the legalities, but in all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure it will go through. Just under $70 billion. That's insane. I will kind of kick off the topic a little bit. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Most of you guys have heard my spiel on various podcasts this week. I think I did like 3 or 4. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to welcome first and foremost our amazing guest this morning, also from the Grown Women's Gaming Podcast. It is Delilah HD. It's been a long time coming, but here she is. That sweet smile is gracing us with her presence this morning. Welcome, Delilah.
Thank you, Newf. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. Dope cast you got here. So
it is a pretty dope cast indeed, yes. And all of our usuals are pretty much in the house this morning, except Eternal Shaddai, who has tested positive for COVID, and he's under the weather. As a matter of fact, I'll introduce him next because he's also not feeling well, which may explain part of his camera absence this morning. Mr. Axel1324 is ready to roll.
Good morning. Hey, the CDC, I said I could be on the podcast, just wear a face mask. So here I am.
Well, thank you, CDC. You've allowed Axel to be on the podcast this morning. All right, next up, we got Coolcat Terri sporting that fantastic Series X beanie. Yes, the powers and the brains. What's going on, Terri?
Doing great. Hope everyone's doing fantastic so far. Looking forward to the show.
It's going to be a good one. Speaking of good, yes, always in good spirits and ready to roll, Scrub Nurse, who usually we have for about at least 2 hours of the program. Scrubs, how are you this morning?
Good morning, everybody. Good to see y'all. Yeah, we got 2 hours. We got a lot to talk about just on one topic. That's awesome, man. I got my coffee and we're ready to go.
Amen to that. And the man who comes in hot and heavy this morning, Cerebral Paul, who's also been on a lot of podcasts talking about this particular topic. How are you, Paul?
Wait, did you just call me fat? Hot and heavy. What the?
hey, you could have took the hot part and ran with it. He just went with the heavy part. See, that's how his brain works. He gives himself no credit.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It's glad to be here. But yeah, this is, we've talked about a lot. I will say a little bit, but probably like Newf, I won't say a whole lot today, but we got a lot of other things to talk about as well, I hope.
Oh,
and
we'll
Delilah.
talk about it.
It's very nice to finally meet you.
oh,
I love the hair. I love her hair. I think she always has it like that pretty much, don't you?
yeah, normally, yeah.
All right, so let's get rolling. It is definitely early on the West Coast. Delilah, you're in the Pacific time zone, correct?
No, actually, I just moved back to Georgia, and so we expanded out here.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm East Coast now. So it's like around 9. It's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. on the East Coast. Okay, so that's not so bad for you. That's just after 7 o'clock getting this one started. Let's welcome our amazing chat. As always, our biggest supporter, or certainly one of our biggest supporters, Doggy Dog, comes in this morning with $1.99. Says good morning and much love, Newf panel and chat. Well, good to see you, Doggy, and much love right back at you. Fast back from our brothers over at the original Next Level Gaming Podcast. He is here this morning. He says, good morning, Xbox. Microsoft Xbox Activision acquisition was big, and looking forward to y'all's thoughts on this. Yes, we're going to have some definitely thoughts on this, and hopefully we don't sound like a big echo chamber. Everybody can bring up maybe a different aspect of this deal, how it potentially, benefits the industry, Microsoft, or perhaps in some ways may even hurt it. We know there are two sides to every story, and not everybody out there has been gleaming with positivity. And I guess a lot of it depends on which side of the fence you're on. I mean, Xbox players are pretty excited because that really solidifies the future of the company, its commitment to gaming, where they want to go with Game Pass. Whereas if you happen to be on PlayStation, there is definitely levels of concern, and rightly so. I mean, when some of your biggest franchises have the potential, not saying it will, but have the potential to become Xbox-centric exclusive, meaning to PC and Xbox ecosystem in the cloud, then there is definitely a reason, I guess, to be slightly concerned. But hey, like we always say here on this podcast, just play all the systems. Go buy them all. And you never got to worry about it. I mean, most of us actually, we own a competing console to do what? To play their exclusives, and nobody sits here and whines about it. So why should it be any different the other way around? Justin Legary, shout out to him, who really laid it down this past week and, basically, laid it down the facts. I don't always agree with Destin in some of his takes, but, he definitely summed it up. He said it didn't matter when such and such a company did this, this, and this, but when Microsoft does the same damn thing, it's just everybody's ready to throw a hissy fit and the world is coming to an end. So, anyway, like I said, for me, it's this simple. It's not about the console war junk. That is going to be a big part of the way, various YouTubers and personalities want to spin this, but it's not really about that at all. It's really about, again, as I said, Xbox securing their future, about their commitment to gaming, and most importantly, the big space that they get with the mobile market. This is a market that they've struggled in, and now they have huge presence by getting, King Gaming, which is under Activision, and they make some really big titles, and Candy Crush is one of the first ones that come to mind. But, for me, the big shocker too, and ironically, it's weird, when PlayStation started, some of their biggest franchises from a platforming perspective were Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, which now are under Activision and under Xbox potentially here in the future. So that is kind of crazy. They have, right now, the ball is in Microsoft's court, and they have the pool, they have the swing. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're flexing their muscle. And you know what? So they should, to some degree. As some people said on other podcasts, this is the product also of what happens when a certain particular fan base and even some corporate executives from competitors have been digging Microsoft for years. You got no games, you got no exclusives, you got no this, you got no that. And as they say, if you poke the bear long enough, you get the claws. And damn it, Microsoft is throwing down the claws. But they're not being idiots about it. They're not coming out and being arrogant about it, that's the other perception. And this is where I want to hear the panels chat. If you think the shoe was on the other foot, would they be playing nice? Phil Spencer, I don't know if the man's got a bad bone in his body, or perhaps he just hides it really well. But, they're obviously not just about, hey, well, let's get the biggest franchises off of our competitor. It may come down to that eventually, but honestly, even if they keep it there, like people ask me, Newf, do you care if Call of Duty stays multi-plat? And I said, honestly, I really don't. I said, because everybody can get to play. Microsoft will get the bank. And hopefully they do the right thing. And that is what I think they should do, is just basically put the product down for a couple of years, let the studios build a game they really want to make and not feel like they're forced into a window that we have to be out on November of every single year. That franchise is big enough. It's going to sell gangbusters in November. It's going to sell gangbusters in March. It's going to sell gangbusters in July. Like Call of Duty sells no matter what title they slap on it, whether they go future, they go present, or they go back to the old Stone Ages. Call of Duty sells. Bottom line, it always has, and I'm pretty sure it always will, because more of the casuals don't really care about the console noise. They don't care about power. They don't care about 1080. They don't care about this stuff. If everybody was about power and 4K and 120 frames a second, the Switch would be buried already. Okay, like that's the facts. And nobody would be playing Fortnite. But it is what it is. You got to cater to both crowds. You got to get the hardcore. You got to get the casuals. Microsoft, like I said, right now, hitting on all cylinders. This is a huge move for them, but it's the perception moving forward. And this is, again, where people will take it and run with it. There's a lot of positivity. Like I said, if you've always loved Xbox, then I guess you're set up very well, especially if you happen to be a big fan of the Game Pass ecosystem. It's going to be very healthy for a long time. It's going to have tons of time. And that's what it's about. Microsoft, this is not Netflix for them, but they are watching what other streaming services are doing. And that's part of the fight as well. It's to get your entertainment dollar. There's so many people fighting for your time and your money in the entertainment space, not just gaming. and with exclusive content coming everywhere. We saw how Netflix has pretty much changed their whole model because Disney came out and stole a lot of the Marvel stuff up, got those guys and add it to their service because they want to pad their wallets and they want to pad their service. So hey, let's get the biggest and brightest names from the comic book industry, and you slap them in there, and so on and so forth. So I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it is. It's about again, driving people to your platform. And I think a lot of us know that Xbox is not just about consoles. It's not going to be all about console sales. Hasn't been for a while. It's about getting people into your ecosystem. And I think in the next 3 or 4 years, correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but I think that we're going to see Game Pass and Xbox be installed on a lot of home televisions. I think it'll be there, just like you see Netflix, just like you see Hulu, just like you see a lot of these apps now. When you buy a smart TV, you're going to walk into a store and then they're just going to say controller. Perhaps people throw in controllers for a bonus, or you just say, hey, controller needed to access Xbox, and away you go. Bob's your uncle, so to speak. So that's what I think it's all about. I think the move overall is good. Negatives, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it was Destin said, would you rather this purchase have gone to somebody like Tencent or Facebook or somebody else who could have literally driven this into the ground or taken it a whole different route? So I think for the most part, I can't think of a whole lot of really bad negatives. And I guess it's too early to say. We have to see how this plays out in the next 4 or 5 years, and certainly after the ink dries. But that's all I have to say about it. I'm going to give it open floor right now. Who wants to jump in and have at it?
I'll jump in real quick because I'm going to be like you and try to be short because I've talked about this a lot this week. But my take is a little bit more on the, I look at the fact they have King Mobile. They have, and I can remember they've been trying to push into the Asian market, and mobile is a great way to push into the Asian market. So I can see them using the King Mobile games and Candy Crush in particular to start advertising, hey, Game Pass, and we have it on the cloud, and you can play these games anywhere. So if you join us, you not only can play this game from us, you can also have access to 540 other games that we played. Not all of them are on the cloud, but quite a few of them are. So I think it's more, it's to me, I could see them using this as more of a push to get into that market even more than they are. Between the Xbox Series S, which sells big over there, and this. And so I think it's more than just how it's going to affect Xbox. I think all of Microsoft is going to get a plus from this, a big boon from this in the end. And you'll have to excuse my voice. I have trouble breathing this morning for some reason. I think I'm a little sick too, but I'm here.
Paul, let me ask you this. How do you think this, we always forget, we always think of Call of Duty is the first thing, but how do you think this may change the way World of Warcraft, which was still a largest successful game, how do you think that changes? Do you think they change the subscription model there and now start putting things underneath the Game Pass banner?
Can you imagine if they gave people a choice? You either pay $15 a month for World of Warcraft, or you pay $20 a month for World of Warcraft plus Game Pass. And then, so all of a sudden you have all these PC players that may or may not already have Game Pass, but now you tell them also you now have access to not only WoW, but you have access to 540 games. That's a big push, and I think a lot of people would opt to pay $5 more to have access to all those games than to pay $15 and only have access to one. At least I know I would at least strongly consider it.
No, that's a fantastic
because
point.
that $20 a month at that point would give you cloud gaming and mobile gaming, and I can't see World of Warcraft being made on cloud gaming. I can't see him doing touch controls for that. I mean, I guess you could try, but the fact that you can, there are mods to make it controller ready. I've been told. I don't know how feasible they are, because there's a lot to World of Warcraft, But yeah, I could see them making that push as well and getting more numbers into the ecosystem, which is what they want. They're looking for 1 billion users in the ecosystem, and so that's how you build that up.
Yeah, Polly Bob in the chat, he says the same thing. They're going to roll those World of Warcraft subscriptions right over into Game Pass subscriptions, and I would not be surprised in the least.
Why not? Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a plus for everybody, even if not everybody sees it right now. Because there's a lot of people, you were one of them, who put off on getting Game Pass, and now you're like, hey, this is a great deal. Look at all the money I've saved.
Mm.
Because you're playing games you may not have tried a year ago. You know, and you're enjoying them. I think.
Well, that's the thing. At some point, they're going to have so many games and so much variety in Game Pass. It's almost like no brainer. Like you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? At
Right.
some point, you're just kind of like, man, I'm either going to get left behind or I'm going to pay through the nose for everything. So yeah, it's a
Yep.
pretty steal of a deal.
And on other podcasts, people have said, and I've said, now we have a different problem. We have too many games to play.
No
Because
such thing.
even I can, you can be overwhelmed. You're like, okay, I want to play a game. Holy crap, there's a lot of games to choose from. I want to play that one and that one and that one.
If you got less than 20 games in your backlog right now, I'd say you're doing extremely well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have way more than that in my backlog. And like I've also said before, it allows me to try games I wouldn't necessarily try. Because I look at the playstyle and go, yeah, I'm not going to be good at that. And I'm glad I don't have to plunk down 60, $70 to find out I'm not good at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think it's a plus for everybody. I really don't see the negative. I'm trying to ignore the idiocy that is Twitter and people looking for clickbait.
Right.
I haven't muted any words, but I have muted people. you know, so because I think there really is no negative. Like you said, they're not going to at least immediately yank, the other games from the other consoles or whatever. Also, people tend to forget, Microsoft owns Minecraft,
Mm-hmm.
and Minecraft is still cross-plat after all these years, raking in the
Correct.
bank.
Yeah.
So there's
Mhm.
nothing to say that some of the games won't also still remain multi-plat, because they're gonna. It depends on where the money's at, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
So,
when you got that many games, you don't need them all to be exclusive, right?
right, and Phil said when Bethesda happened, it's going to be a case by case basis. Now, and I think he's holding to that. Right now, a lot of the case has been, yeah, we're going to make this exclusive, but they still look at every case individually and see how it's going to affect, the bottom line. You got enough Call of Duty people to warrant keeping it multi-plat? More power to you, because there's a lot of money out there in that.
Mhm.
But if you choose not to, or you choose, certain parts of it, like, how many times did we get nailed because there was a add-on exclusive that was exclusive to the other plat, and so we kind of had to just knuckle under and go, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good. I'm done.
Yeah. Let me ask all of you guys this as well, because Activision obviously is known for certain titles that pop to the forefront. Again, Call of Duty, but also I want you to talk about some of the dormant franchises, stuff that have kind of did some big bank for them, but haven't really been like Fastbacker. I think it's Joanna Dark says in the chat here, Mr. Joanna Dark, like Skylanders, stuff like that. That was also Activision. The Skylanders, and you got all, like I said, bringing back stuff like Crash and Spyro, where there seems to be a bit of a lull and a void in terms of platformers these days. So you have two heavy hitting names that are instantly recognizable in most households. So what kind of games would you like to see them resurrect here as well, which was just definitely on the table?
I just want to go, I'm real quick. I just, honest to God, real quick. They also have an older library that we haven't heard from in forever, like the Sierra Online library they picked up with the acquisition. And for those that don't know, those are point and click, like the Day of the Tentacle stuff that they just they upgraded and re-released. So I hope they go back and do some of that with some of those, because some of the Police Quest and Space Quest are amazing games. So yeah, so they have a whole big back library now they can go back to, and hey, you haven't seen this game in 30 years, and here it is. So yeah, I hope they do. I really do hope they do some of that beyond the console games and stuff that they have. Go back to their PC titles and pull some of those up.
Doggy Dog brings up a good one, Guitar Hero, which has been a huge franchise in the past for Activision. But can you imagine underneath the Game Pass service now, where you don't have to build a game all the time? You build, say, Guitar Hero Unlimited, and basically it's constantly every month you get new songs under Game Pass to play it with the game. You just make a really good game. and there you go. It's constantly stuff with content that you can play all the time. Stuff like that would
I
be
just want to
perfect for
shred.
Game Pass.
I just want to shred to the Doom soundtrack on Guitar Hero. That's all I got to say. That would be epic.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how as far as your format goes. I mean, you just want to just chime in.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So one thing I want to mention though is if you was to look at the IP list that Activision Blizzard does have, it's about 37 or so, and they have about, I would say, 8 studios. So I mean, you said some of the older ones, so like Soldier of Fortune, Tenchu, StarCraft, True Crime. You said Guitar Hero, so DJ Hero, Hearthstone,
Yeah, DJ Hero looked big.
Heroes of the Storm. I think someone in the chat said Hexen.
Yep.
I mean, we obviously Overwatch. I mean, the IP list is ridiculous when you think about it.
Yep.
And if you've paid attention to any of the articles that's kind of been floating around with the Washington Post, it's interesting to kind of read that Phil's thinking about allowing the 8 studios that is under Activision and Blizzard to be able to touch some of these IPs, or kind of like instead of having Call of Duty on a yearly cycle, let's kind of reevaluate that situation and see if we can kind of spread these teams out and allow them to touch some IP, even with some of the Microsoft Xbox Game Studios IP. There's still 23 studios that's under XGS, you know what I mean, and Bethesda. So it's like Microsoft has some dormant IP too. So it's I look at this announcement, if of course, like any other fan, I was a little bit like, hold on, let's really dig deep, especially with all the the employee situations, stuff like that. So you always approach those situations with some reservation, right? Because you don't know like the full ins and outs of everything just yet. But
Delilah, is that the first order of business?
What do you mean?
Is that the first order of business now from Microsoft? Is to I don't like the words necessarily clean house, but basically get the house in order to get rid of that stigma now and that sort of dark cloud that's been hanging over Activision Blizzard for the last couple of years in particular, and certainly recently with all of the accusations and things happening behind the scenes.
I would say it better be Activision's first order of business, because I mean, you think about this deal doesn't close till fiscal 2023. So it should be Activision's first order of business. I have as far as what Microsoft is going to do, we won't know that yet. I mean, because that deal, we won't know anything until the deal closes, right? So it's one of those things to where I would hope so, because we all know. It's been well documented at this point, like what's been going on there, and it's just unfortunate and ridiculous, So, but as far as the deal, just from a gaming perspective, I am excited about the deal. I'm a little bit more optimistic about it because the parent company, Microsoft is picking it up. I'm biased to the company, so it's for me, it's one of those things to where I do see where they can kind of step in and make sure that there's a significant culture change and make sure that it's beneficial for the employees that they bring in. We won't know. We won't know until it all comes to fruition. But ultimately, just excited.
Nice. And which franchise in particular from some of those you listed are you most excited about? What would you like to see return? Or, how do you feel about Call of Duty? You a Call of Duty cat?
I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty.
I know Lady Infamous is all about that.
Oh yeah, she's caught all day. For me, it's I love ninja games, so Tenchu would be one of mine. And it's another one too. So Prototype. So Tenchu and Prototype are the two IPs that I'm mostly excited about when I was like kind of going through that list. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, Call of Duty, obviously that's the big name. That's the mainstream title that everyone's played, shooter, that's, I think I was listening to Jez and Randall Thor's podcast, Xbox 2, and they were saying how, I think the phrase that Jez used was that Call of Duty is the ritual. Like every year, there's a Call of Duty. And so you get used to kind of going through that process. Okay, it's around October, November. Let me jump on my Call of Duty. Let me get another Call of Duty.
Let me just say, Tuesday morning, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall at Jim Ryan's house. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how he must have felt when he woke up to that news?
Oh yeah,
holy mackerel! Can only imagine. Like,
hopefully, he felt better than me. So I'm going to piggyback off that because on Tuesday, I haven't talked about this at all, So on Tuesday, you know, I was not feeling good. I fell asleep. I've been sleeping. You know, the first 3 days of the week, I was sleeping about 20 hours a day. So on Tuesday, 10 o'clock, 10:30ish, I wake up and, you know, first thing I do is look at Twitter and it's like, oh, Activision, you know, I saw the little graphic, Activision Blizzard. And I'm like, oh man, this is another fan made graphic. And then I saw that Xbox Wire had, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the real Xbox Wire? Or is this a different Xbox
And a
Wire?
double
So
take. Yeah.
I clicked it to see if it was official, and it's like from Phil Spencer. So I'm doing my thing. I'm like, no way did this happen, right? But sure enough, it did, and I'm like, what the heck, man? This is awesome because, you know, as a fan that's been there through the highs and the lows, we've always wanted Xbox to be the juggernaut that it is.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and they've always had the wallet, right? They always have the be able to kind of put their money behind the brand. They just never, for whatever reason, they always had this plan. This I would like say like woe is me underdog kind of tone.
Yeah.
To them and
Right,
Xbox.
right.
They always had the money to be able to put their full effort behind the brand. They just had, I guess, you know, their mind in a different place when it came to it.
Different.
So it's
roadblocks.
great to see that Satya and Phil are like 100% just. I love to see it because it's something as an Xbox fan I've always wanted. It's just Microsoft to put their full financial backing behind the Xbox brand. So it's great to see.
How times changed. 6 or 7 years ago, this deal would have been laughed right out of the Microsoft boardroom.
Oh yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, we all remember 2013, and I still got, you know, old DMs from people sending me hate mail for saying something about their favorite, you know, console. So it's
Yeah. So then I read how much 68.7 billion was it? And
Yeah,
I'm like, Jesus,
68.7
68.7 billion.
Mm.
That's huge, you know. I mean, could you imagine the conversation that Phil Spencer had with Jim Ryan? He's like, oh, you're never gonna beat us. It's like, beat you? I don't need to beat you. I just gotta buy you. You know?
isn't that from something?
Yeah, there was a little skit on YouTube that did it. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious. So yeah, I've been waiting for Xbox to be the juggernaut that it is. It's owned by Microsoft, and you know, when you hear Microsoft stories, you hear all these Old Testament Microsoft stories when Bill Gates was buying out people left and right mercilessly. You know, not even allowing competition to get in the way. And Mike Ibarra used to talk about it. He's like, man, I wish we were as ruthless as we were back in the day when we first started.
Mhm.
So it was fun I won't say it was fun, but it's, as a fan, this is what you've always wanted.
It was fun.
It was
It
the
was fun.
meltdowns are fun. I live for days like on Twitter like this. I really do. Like,
Speaking of your bar, sorry.
go
Speaking of your bar, did y'all notice that on that day he only tweeted like a smiley face?
Yeah.
I thought that was
Mhm.
super
A
interesting.
whole lot of smiley face. Yeah.
Yeah, I tweeted
right.
I was like, welcome back, Mike and Rod.
You thought you were going to get
Right.
away, did you?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're gonna
no.
leave our company, we're gonna buy your whole company.
Yeah.
But I see this, you know, Microsoft is real cautious about who they buy. You know, they've been Crystal Dynamics. They're kind of on a trial run. So I've heard. Same thing with IOI and other companies. But I think, you know, when Activision Blizzard came knocking you, this is one of those opportunities you just couldn't pass up.
Mm.
You know, several articles have said that they went to Facebook, they went to Microsoft, all these other places, and they bought them for $95-ish a share. Is that correct?
Yeah, 95.
95.
95, which is a steal compared to a year ago. They were trading at 105. So,
But come on, we all know why that stock price is down.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Hey,
it was
man,
lower
opportunity
than that.
knocks.
Yeah, it was lower.
opportunity knocks, and you know, Phil Spencer brought the dead presidents with him, and they struck a deal, all cash. And just the list of IPs that you get with Activision, obviously the big one being Call of Duty. I see Call of Duty staying multi-platform in some form or fashion, right? So when you do the math for last generation, PlayStation was 2-1 on Xbox. So if you do the same thing with Call of Duty, the revenue was 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see them putting Call of Duty exclusive and losing 2/3 of their income on it. So I do believe that Call of Duty is going to stay exclusive in some fashion, whether it be just Warzone or just the multiplayer, and
Yes.
Xbox people get campaigns only
Mm-hmm.
or something, right?
Yeah.
I just don't see it. But all the rest of the IPs. Now, I'm not so much into the Activision IPs other than Guitar Hero. Bring back Guitar Hero so I can shred to some Doom soundtrack, please. But I'm really into the Blizzard IPs. I love Diablo. I love StarCraft. I love the Hearthstone. I love all those Blizzard IPs. World of Warcraft is great, but I prefer old school Warcraft, the RTS Warcraft. Bring that one back. And I'm really looking forward to those. And a lot of those do translate well to controller. Doom 3 was fantastic on controller. Sorry, not Doom 3. Diablo 3. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Diablo 3 was fantastic. And so I'm really looking forward to those coming into Game Pass and just adding them to my repertoire of games that I get to play forever and ever. And also bring back Police Quest, please. Police Quest SWAT. Those are the best.
Let me ask you this, Axel. What do you think about we're thinking IPs, we're thinking studios, but what about things like licensing? Because if you recall recently, all of the James Bond games that came out over the last few years, they were underneath the Activision banner. They had the license. And we're also hearing lots of talk about a GoldenEye resurrected here and a few things like that. So you think as well it's licensing, because that's one of the things that people talk about when we bring up the whole Crystal Dynamics side of things, right? Or the whole Warner Brothers, should I say. I mean, that's the one thing that everybody talks about. Like, Warner Brothers is big, but if you don't get some of the IP that comes with the Warner Brothers acquisition, the things like the Batman games and stuff, it's like, is it worth the while? Because that's where you gotta, those are things too, the licensing deals that come along with it. How long are they in place? How does that work? So that sort of stuff.
I'm sure that Activision has first right of refusal on licensing 007 stuff if they have the license and it's still active on the contract. And I hope they do. It would be awesome to get 007 games, new ones or old ones, on Game Pass. Other licenses that they might hold would also be good. But when you look at the types of purchases Microsoft has done, they don't really purchase fee-heavy studios. They have purchased studios that bring their own IPs, that they have some value to them. Let me think who, like WB. We all thought for sure Microsoft a year ago or 2 years ago that Microsoft was gonna for sure buy WB. And we were all like, man, I hope they get exclusivity to that Batman license. Batman. At least I was anyway. And it didn't happen. And I think a big reason it didn't happen is because maybe WB wasn't willing to throw the Batman IP in there. So when you really think about the types of purchases Microsoft does, they don't just purchase studios, they could create studios. They're purchasing their IPs, which I think is the long play.
Game Pass.
Because talent will come and go. People will retire, people will move on, new talent will move in, but the IPs, well, they stay with you forever. So Microsoft
Actually, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I touched on it. What about, do you think as well this move was partly because of the hostile landscape we're in terms of entertainment and people buying people lately, right? I mean, Sony has, as someone stated, maybe it was destined, they're kind of buying what they can afford, and it's working out well for them. They're going to get studios that are going to create some fantastic, exclusive IPs for the service. But we also see that Netflix now wants to get in the game. What if Netflix actually bought Activision? Like, how could this have changed? I mean, Netflix could have easily bought them because they're getting into their own gaming, and that would have given them a big mobile presence and things else. And I mean, Tencent obviously is the biggest. They're the biggest publisher now overall. They pretty much almost have just about everybody, it seems like, outside of the ones that Microsoft and a few others have bought. So like you have to imagine if this went the other way, how could this have been detrimental? Because we don't know everybody else's intention into the gamescape. When we know that, I think as well, we're always talking about how Sony, kicked the bear here. But I think when Google jumped in with Stadia, I think they woke up a lot of people as well, regardless of how Stadia turned out. They kind of realized that, holy crap, everybody wants a piece of the gaming pie, and there's only so many pieces before that pie is empty. So you either, as they say, poop or get off the pot. You're either going to be the beast or you're going to get eaten by the beast. So maybe that's part of this whole, get ahead of the curve, because Microsoft doesn't like to be waiting. They're proactive and not reactive, and that's the difference between Microsoft and every other company. Everybody sits around waiting. Microsoft puts their the big cojones out on the table and goes for it, man. And that's exactly what this was, a cojones move that goes, it's not just about the gaming space, it's about the space in general. It's about, making sure that the rest of the guys on the board aren't going to keep trying to bite at this pie we're trying to make here. What do you think, Axel?
I think you're absolutely right. Things would definitely change. It's not a console war anymore. It's a content war. Content is king this generation. And whoever has the most content is going to benefit the most. We always say gamers have short-term memories. Gamers have short attention spans. A game, I mean, Christ, if you've been there, a game releases last a week, and then by next week, everybody's all like, man, there's nothing to play. I don't know who has that kind of time, but there are people who are like that. There are people who are like that. Are like, man, there's nothing to play. So you got to keep putting out this content over and over and over again. And if Tencent would have bought them, I don't think much would change. Personally, they would keep doing what they're doing, third party, all that good stuff. Tencent is not platform agnostic. Tencent is platform agnostic. They're not exclusive to anybody. But if I don't know, a different platform holder would have bought them, I really think there would be no question that everything would have gone exclusive if Sony would have scooped them up. If Sony could have scooped them up.
Yeah, for sure.
But Microsoft being Microsoft, what was it? 10 years ago now, Minecraft was the biggest gaming acquisition of all time at $2.5 billion or whatever it was. And it stayed fully multi-plat to Microsoft's benefit and everybody's benefit. Everybody won on that one. And so Xbox and Microsoft just love engagement more than anything. Engage in our ecosystem, engage with us. Xbox, Microsoft is gaming. We have games, good games, great games, the best games in the world. When they bought Minecraft became the biggest game in the world there for a while. Now they bought Call of Duty. Call of Duty is currently the biggest game in the world right now. So Microsoft is always targeting the big dogs when it comes to gaming. And I just see it going the same way. But if somebody else would have bought it, I don't know.
Well, let me just ask you this last one before we kind of hand it off here. What about, where does Nintendo fall in this? Do you think Microsoft now can potentially use this as leverage? If they want to, say, swing sort of like a crossover multi-plat deal, they now have some extra leverage to do that, because that's what it is as well. It's a leverage move, right? If Tencent, say, had a potentially did this deal, like I said, they might not be big in the console space, but they would make even more billions on the mobile side of things. And that alone keeps the bankroll going. And then they could basically hold other companies hostage. They could sell to the highest bidder, and they could, case by case basis, literally almost license off or sell some of the IP to other people if they wanted to, and still, like I said, have bankrolls coming in. That's the thing, and that's the other side of the coin you got to look at. But how does Nintendo feel about it? Because regardless, I know Nintendo does well on their own accord. But at some point, with Nintendo, the bubble's got to burst too, right? Like they struck lightning in a bottle, but that's not going to happen every time they release a console.
I know Nintendo put out a statement a while ago, a few years ago now, that Xbox is treated just like any other third-party publisher is on Nintendo. They get no special treatment. That might have been all PR talk, but at the time, that's what was said. And Phil is a nice guy, as just Gordon said, right? Banjo's still on Nintendo. They just re-released Banjo on the Nintendo Online Plus or whatever it is. And I see them keeping that family friendly stuff over at Nintendo too. Spyro and Crash, and I don't know what else is family friendly. Guitar Hero,
Right.
Geometry Wars is another one that I totally love.
Yeah. Love that game.
I really see them moving that over there, but I do believe that I think the leverage that Xbox is really going to use is going to be two things. One is going to be requiring Xbox accounts to play these games.
Mm-hmm.
No longer will you be able to, you're going to need to sign in. Like every now and
Mm-hmm.
again when I play a Ubisoft game, I also got to sign into Ubisoft, right? So wherever you're playing, you got to sign into your Xbox account, your Microsoft account. And the second thing, though, is that I think they're going to leverage those fees, if there are any fees. Now, we all know due to the court documents that PlayStation has the basically the crossplay fees, and I believe this gives them leverage to renegotiate those crossplay fees that they have. So that's the way I see it. But overall, I don't see, Nintendo, they've been relying on their old IPs and new ways to engage in them for so long, and they do create new IPs every now and again, but they really need a third party to be on their thing. They don't have an EA or a Ubisoft or something like that making stuff for the Switch. So if Nintendo and Xbox have a good cordial relationship, they could say, hey, bring everything over to Nintendo. We'll make we'll do something, whatever that is, whether it be money or whether it be exposure or PR talk. I don't know. They'll do something.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Great takes from Axel. We're going to get to Scrub Nurse and then Coolcat Terri. And Coolcat, by the time you wrap up your thoughts on this matter, you'll probably get to go into the indie spotlight. And I'm definitely interested to hear your take because you may have a bit more to say about games like Diablo, StarCraft, two wildly popular PC games, not to mention the World of Warcraft thing, which, again, it's everybody looks at Call of Duty, but my God, if you look at StarCraft, Warcraft, and friggin' all those games, hey, it looks like Microsoft's got all the crafts now. Minecraft, Warcraft, StarCraft, Craft Dinner. They're going to keep on going here. Yes, buy Craft Dinner next, Microsoft. Put Xbox on the thing. Go ahead, Scrub Nurse. Give us your take on this, and then we'll bring in Terri.
Well, I'm just saying for the last 2 weeks, we were talking about Call of Duty, and Phil heard my cry, so I'm just saying. I know y'all know I like to shoot. Call of Duty is one of the games I love to play, even though a lot of times it is horrible. But like I said, it's one of those engagement things you get with your friends. You say it's a Thursday night, we're going to all get around and play for 2 hours. It's engagement. You have fun. You go on. That's one thing I'm looking at when we're talking about them getting Activision Blizzard. It is a big thing to have Call of Duty, but it's not all about Call of Duty. You want to make it great. That's why I think that it will not be exclusive. Unless they might say something like, we want to put campaigns, since so many folks say, I don't play Call of Duty for the campaign. Okay, then you can make it exclusive to Xbox and we'll see how much you like it or not. But you want Call of Duty players to play in your area. What are the top two games on PlayStation right now? It's Call of Duty Vanguard, Call of Duty Cold War. Not to be much about console war stuff, but there's a reason why some of these exclusive PlayStation games are not even hitting 1 million copies sold. Because there are a lot of people who are just casual. Hey, this is the game I play for the whole year. I only play Madden, so I buy this console for Madden. I only play FIFA. I only play Call of Duty. So PlayStation has 60% of the share for Call of Duty as far as consoles. So, and Call of Duty is not exclusive right now. So you can get the mind share and everything without making a game console exclusive and still gather money together. All you have to do is make the beta exclusive. All you have to do is make a certain map like they've done before. You own MLG. Guess what? Now Xbox has mine sharing esports. But because you now own Call of Duty, every time you watch the Call of Duty League, people see that and they start thinking Xbox, Microsoft, their favorite players might be in a commercial with Xbox controller or Elite controller in game. People move to where they get, especially Call of Duty players, where you can get the most advantage. That's where they're going to move from. I don't know if you know, but since I play Call of Duty, if you just link your YouTube account and when you watch Call of Duty League, you get double XP points that you can use next time you log on the game. You get an hour double XP just because you watched 30 minutes of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty players will go where they get the most advantage, the most early access, the most bang for their buck. So it doesn't matter the console. They're agnostic when it comes to console because when Xbox had the marketing rights for Call of Duty, it was a lot more folks playing on Xbox. Or they're just going to go where their friends are. But folks been talking Call of Duty to death. But if you just keep it like it is now, you have some rights that you could say, hey, you can only play the beta here on Xbox. You're going to get folks moved over. And you can still get money from people who just say, I love to play on PlayStation. Because crossplay has kind of killed a lot of this. Before, when you didn't have crossplay, if you had 15 friends on one console and you were on the other, you had to buy the game either on both consoles or you just had to go to that one specific console. So crossplay has kind of knocked a lot of that out. So since you have crossplay, you don't have to make it exclusive. Everybody can still play together. What's bigger is put Call of Duty on Azure servers. You can take the folks who usually make it, like Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and let them make it, but then take all those studios that were helping or making big portions or campaigns, like Toys for Bob. Why is that on Call of Duty? You got Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Skylanders, Beatnox, Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero is perfect for Game Pass. Put it in there. You got DLC. Here's a 80s metal hairband something pack. Here's a 90s grunge pack. And you can sit there and it's a family game that brings people together. So why have Beanox or somebody else sitting there making Call of Duty? You got Demonware, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk,
Yeah.
There's a franchise that they could certainly get some money from.
High Moon made Transformers, it's so much on there. WoW going to Game Pass. Look at all the subscribers and the people who sit there and engage with WoW all the time. So you only need Call of Duty for just to bring money in but you're getting all of Activision. Like I said, MLG, King is bringing in over $500,000 a month just to hear somebody go, sweet.
Yeah.
Candy
Not
Crush.
to mention, Scrub, if you look at Call of Duty, right, they pulled in a lot of companies to make multi-facets of Call of Duty, that companies that used to make their own games.
Exactly.
Like Raven and High Moon and who's the other ones, like Sledgehammer.
That's what I'm saying. Put them back on games, yeah.
Yeah, Beanox. So like Beanox has got amazing talent with like some of the old Spider-Man games and various other stuff. So yeah, like they could be out there making like whole new games instead of just tying up all that talent just to one franchise and just let Call of Duty sit for a couple years and just make one great game. They can keep Warzone keeping the money rolling in annually, right?
Yeah, because let me give you the mind of a lot of Call of Duty players as well. This is why you don't make this exclusive. They have seasons, just like Halo is doing seasons as well, but Call of Duty seasons are very quick. They only last maybe about 40 days, 100 levels, and it's $10 to play. You can play the first 20 levels for free. It's $10 to get the whole season pass. It's $20 if you want to skip 20 levels and be ahead of everybody else for that season pass. A lot of people get that so they can get to their guns and equipment and whatever faster. Then they have all the different costumes and overlays of the characters, those are costing $10. Sometimes they have tracer packs on the weapons. Those are like $5, $10. Oh, it's Christmas time. Here's a Christmas pack. It's $5 and $10. And folks are buying this out. It is not out of the question to hear a hardcore Call of Duty fan spending in a year's time till the next one come out $200, $300. Why would you take that all off a Sony PlayStation side? Because there's going to be folks who are going to say, well, I just quit because there's so many folks that are mad with Call of Duty now. But if you fix the server issue, that's one of the main things that are on there. Take some of these other people. You can make more games. You have more studio, make more games, put on Game Pass, and then push Call of Duty to like a 2 or 3 year schedule. And you have Warzone in between, which is on everywhere. Just make the money that way, make it better. And if you give a better product, people will stick with it. That's why so many folks are mad with it now. But to me, the big thing is you have an esports. Look at Overwatch. You got, like I said, you had the MLG. You're sitting there. You have WoW. You have StarCraft. You have all these games that Activision has.
Overwatch.
Before. What we're looking at with COD is like I said yesterday, you're looking at this tree, but you're not realizing this tree is old with a lot of property, and you don't realize all the roots that are down in this ground, stuff that you have overlooked. It's more important to what you plan on doing in the future. And this is a big deal. And Phil said this more than a year ago, that his competition is not Apple. I mean, not Apple. It's not I can't get the word out. Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah.
That is not the competition. And you can see this. What happened with Stadia? Stadia wasn't great anyway, but we bought Bethesda, and what did you hear about Stadia? It's gone. Because now you're seeing how much money it is put in. Now it's just 7.5. Now you're sitting here going $68.7 billion. You're going, hey, Netflix, hey, Apple, if you want to get this big stuff, Tencent, you got to pay the money. Now, if a cell phone and app store company wants to get into this game, now they're churning. Are we willing to get EA and spend all this money? Are we willing to get, Take-Two and spend all this money? We want to get, and we still don't even have the infrastructure and the developers and everything. We're not gaming. We just let you spend money to get to other games. Are you willing to spend that and do that extra work for it? And most companies are going to say no. And I think this is a big push that Microsoft is doing to say, hey, no.
Well, the Call of Duty marketing, just going strictly back to Xbox now, is going to pay huge dividends. No matter how you look at it, when you go out there and Call of Duty is the biggest game, and you walk into a retailer, or you go to see a commercial, or you go to a football game, or wherever it is, and now Call of Duty's got that constant Xbox behind it. Even MLG, right? Call of Duty is one of their big games, and now you're going to see there's no choice, but you're going to have to see Xbox logos and Xbox Game Pass and all that stuff. And all you got to do is Call of Duty, $15 a month or whatever it is in the States. Play everything for this much money a month. I mean, how are people not going to buy into that?
Because we all know somebody who has seen a commercial for I don't know what game you can say, and they'll come to you, hey man, did you hear about that exclusive on PlayStation? Because they're casuals, and you go, what game? And they'll name something because you're into the mix that this is cross-platform, but all they see is Battlefield 2042, and they see Xbox behind it. So in their head, it's Xbox game. They see PlayStation behind it in their head. Oh, that's a PlayStation game. The mind share and the marketing rights mean something. It does. YouTubers who are playing a video game and says, hey, I just got early access to Xbox new such and such, and you're playing with the controller and you got the Xbox in the foreground, kids move to where their favorite player is.
Yes, that's true.
Let's bring in Coolcat Terri and go ahead, Axel.
I do have a question for Scrub. Are you excited to save your $60 every year now that it's going to be included with your Game Pass subscription, your Call of Duty?
Oh yeah, I'm very excited, but I'm more excited not about the $60 because that didn't bother me at all. I'm more excited to have a better system. One, the servers. Activision never had a dedicated servers for COD ever. Never were dedicated, so
It's all
they were
P2P,
trash.
peer to peer.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
man, that sucks.
So to have dedicated servers, I'm excited about it.
Mhm.
To split the game up as far as not a year to year basis, and I can play on it 2 years and then have a better experience, not just for multiplayer, but the campaign. Have a better storyline, have more fun. Maybe it can be more immersive, and then have a better experience online. I'm way more excited than that than about exclusive. It's all mine
Mm.
or putting on Game Pass, but that is a big part of it. But to me, I'm excited for what I can get on the back end as far as quality.
Nice. Well, hey, if you don't mind saving those $60 or you didn't care to, send them my way. Just saying.
No, no, no,
Don't
no.
worry, Terry. We're gonna let you go off on this. So hopefully you got it all built up here. But real quick, Delilah, do you have any further things you'd like to add on this conversation? And my question to you is as well: do you see any cons to this? I mean, there's lots of pros. Do you see anything that you kind of this could be perceived the wrong way or anything like that? I mean, So any more further things to add?
I would say the only con I see in this is that all this we're talking about as far as IPs and
Mhm.
revitalizing it all takes time. Time is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me that's the only con in this.
Yeah.
Of course, with the culture things, if they're not able to kind of solve that quickly, I think that can also pose a problem. But the amount of time it may take for some of these IPs to come to fruition and some of these things that we're talking about to kind of be enjoyed by the gamers would be
Real
difficult.
quick on time. I mean, the Bethesda
Mm.
ink's been dry a year, and people already like, it's been a year. How come we haven't seen nothing? It's like,
Oh
what
yeah.
the hell are you talking
Right.
about?
Well, if you can't get consoles into people's hands, you might as well take your time. I find that
Yeah.
absolutely ironic that you walk in the store, you got controllers and games for consoles that people can't even get. And it's like this is the weirdest crap I've ever seen. Like, how do you expect game sales to be high when most people still can't play the game, especially a physical version? Like you're walking to the store, I could buy 101 PlayStation 5 controllers, or Xbox controllers, and headsets, but I can't get the damn consoles. What's going on?
Yeah, and just think about what we're waiting on already. I mean, we know that there's a Fable coming. We know all these other
Mm-hmm.
titles that's
Mhm.
slated in the slated for release. Like, so this deal is supposed to close in 2023, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's gonna bump head with some of these games that's supposed to be coming out, hopefully within that same kind of similar time frame. So it's gonna be interesting to see in the next few
Mhm.
years.
Yeah, but Newf, this is what you got to think of. Cross generation right now.
Mhm.
xCloud. If you can't get the game right now, you can play xCloud on the Xbox One, the One X. Some of these games you can still get brand new now on those until you can get a Series S or a Series X. So that's one good thing. Right now, we don't have everything. Oh, Xbox Series X or S only. So we still have time. We got time.
It does. Well,
It's a
the other thing it
luxury
is
right
when you
now
got
to
that,
have a new console. It's a
yeah,
luxury right now.
and when you got that many studios and IPs now, that's the thing. Like if somebody delays a game, delays aren't going to be as apparent as they would have been in the past because now you should theoretically, with this many studios, have content regardless of who sort of slips a ship date or not. Like that's the thing. Like somebody's got to come in and fill up
Exactly.
those gaps. So you kind of look at each studio and you say who's ready to launch or who's close to launching in November. We'll move one up. We'll push one back. And hopefully when COVID is finally behind us, it seems like it's going to be an eternity that people do get back to putting in some real heavy footwork and like I said, we get the consoles and stuff like that. So what's Paul?
I was just gonna say, but that's still gonna take a couple of years before that
Yep.
comes to full fruition. People can't expect. It's like, well, they've had 6 months to work on this. How come they haven't turned anything out? Those are the people who really don't understand what goes into game design and development.
No. And do you want quality or do you want some shovelware crap? So,
Yeah.
you take your pick,
Yeah.
right? We're having enough trouble getting it now. Even with the delays, games are still coming out shoddy. So, yeah.
Yep.
Let's bring in Coolcat Terri. Coolcat, I'm curious to find out how you feel about it. Haven't heard much from you, and obviously sorry to keep you last, but you definitely Like, save the best for last. Come on, Terry, let's go.
Save the best for last.
Hot take.
Okay.
Just kidding. Love this
All
panel.
right,
You guys are awesome.
Okay, yeah, so I went ahead, I don't know who listened to it, but I wanted to strike when the iron was hot. So right on Tuesday when the news dropped, I went and I did my own hot take with myself on my own show, Just a Glimpse. So what I pretty much covered on that was how, Scrubber Ray touched on it about how, because everyone wants to focus on this as being, all about Call of Duty and console war nonsense. And this has always been, like Phil had said, I think a couple years back, about how he wasn't worried about that competition. He was worried about the Amazons on the Facebooks. This is literally that. This is him getting publishers, get into that mobile space, which Facebook, when I think about mobile gaming outside of like the Asian market, is Facebook. They're all about pushing those mobile games within Facebook. So this is a way for them to have that competition and possibly look a lot nicer, because Phil has also said in the past that he wants to get into the metaverse. So this could be a way for them to look more enticing. So when Facebook does their full rebrand as the metaverse, or whatever the heck they're going to call themselves, they'll be able to maybe do some sort of partnership down the line, and maybe partner with Facebook to use their infrastructure to really push the mobile side and to really push the Xbox cloud stuff, which then you guys talked about, VR in the past, which would also open up for them to have the partnerships in the future to get into Oculus. So he's got, I've said in the past that Microsoft always plays the long game. They're always looking years and years in the future of how things are going to shape and how they're going to change. Whereas the competitors, Sony and Nintendo, they're always focused on the now. What can we do to stay big now? And that's why the competitors are scrambling, because they don't know what to do with Game Pass. They don't know what to do with the acquisitions, because they weren't looking to the future, at least not that far. So it's interesting. And then when you look at the different IPs, I mean, yeah, Call of Duty is major, but I personally don't care. I don't play it. But I mean, it's still one of those things when it comes to, I'm hoping that they're going to push more of making new IPs, because they do have some great talent like Beanox. I would like to see, everyone's focused on, oh yeah, they have all these IPs. I want to see, bring back these games. Yeah, it'd be nice to bring back some of those games, but I want to see new IPs. Because that's like the big thing that people always complain about, is how you don't have anything new. And then we always, nitpick back and forth on everybody about how all they do is, bleed certain IPs to death. So I would like to see Microsoft try to, encourage some of these studios to do that and to start making new things. Because that would be fantastic as well. I mean, they can still bring back some of the other stuff. That's fine, because there's definitely money in some of those IPs. But to make some new stuff, would be better for increasing that library versus just milking certain brands dry.
Real quick, I could see him going to each one of them and going, "What would you like to work on?" Because he has a history of doing stuff like that.
Or is there another studio this certain employee or that certain employee would like to go up somewhere else to and work? So,
especially for games like Ravensoft, who've been stuck doing Call of Duty forever. I'm sure some of those guys have some great ideas, and Phil's going to go, "What do you need? What would you like to do?" Because like you said, they could be new IPs sitting out there just waiting to be had.
Yes, and a good example of that would be with Insomniac for the what was that one? Oh, I forgot I just lost the name. The
Sunset
one
Overdrive.
Sunset. So back before Sony got Insomniac, Insomniac was going around to different places to try to get help to make the game, and Microsoft was the only one that was like, "Yo, we'll help you and we'll let you do how you want to do it," whereas everybody else was more nitpicking about, you have to do it our way. So Insomniac they sided with Microsoft so they could make the game the way they envisioned it, which was great. So if Microsoft continues to do that with these other studios, that would be fantastic. Would love to see some more IPs. And then this is There's so much to try to cover and to try to, not touch on too much that was already said. There was when it comes to the older ones, I know no one here mentioned Gun. I would love to see them, bring back Gun. Now, the perfect time for it too, because since Rockstar brought back Red Dead Redemption, and that was such a hit, it'd be great for them to bring back Gun because they know that there's a market for that. There's an audience. People loved it. I personally, back in the day, preferred Gun over Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Revolver. I thought Gun was the superior one. But, so it'd be cool to see what they could do with that. I want to see that back. Gun was the one that Beanox was also a part of, helping with that, as well as Neversoft. So fantastic. And now they have both of them. So, bring that back. Bring that back. Make it great. And one of the great things about Gun that people may not remember is Gun. It wasn't just, your third-person Western game like Red Dead. They also had this really fun thing with this mini game where you would go into first person and you would have this quick draw, shootout thing.
Yeah.
And it just made that game. It made that game. And so, yeah, I want that to come back. Bring that back. And then we'd have some interesting, competition between, Red Dead is back. Maybe they'll bring Revolver back too. And then we'll have Gun. And then, with that competition being live again, that's going to push both of those sides to keep trying to make those games even better, which would be great.
And Gun looked good and played well for an early 360 title.
Yeah.
Yes. Another one that I'm hoping for, and this is one that no one thinks about. When at least 5+ years ago, Valve made a deal back in the day to get the Star Trek licensing to get the games put on Steam. They got pretty much all the Star Trek games, excluding the ones that Activision did. I would love to see, since Microsoft has that money, I would love to see if they could strike up a licensing deal with Paramount and try to bring back some of those games that are in the vault. I mentioned it on my show. A lot of people may not know it, but Elite Force, Star Trek Elite Force 1 and 2, hands down, the best Star Trek games ever made. They were first-person shooters. No one knows about them, and those need to make a comeback. So I want to see that happen. That would be a dream come true, for sure. I don't know. I'm really around. I'm trying to think of things. You had asked about WoW. That was something I had covered as well, was that it would be two of them to definitely make sure they get rid of that subscription altogether, slap it on Game Pass. That would make it more enticing. There's a lot of people like myself who've always wanted to get into WoW, but I'm not going to pay a subscription for a game that I'm not going to be able to play, all the time to make that, that money work for me. Because the people that play that game hardcore, they don't have to pay the subscription. They play enough to where they get the subscription free. I can't do that. I can't invest that kind of time into a game like WoW. So to have it on Game Pass would be fantastic. And then I think it was back during the 360 time was when Blizzard was playing with the idea to try to bring it to console, and it didn't work out. 360 just wasn't good enough back then. They just didn't have the compatibility for that. But now hardware is so much better with consoles. It'd be interesting to see if they could be able to make a successful port to the Series X. Because that would be something. Since that's such a major game, that would be something.
We got a DOP in the chat here from Crazy Louie. Crazy Louie, what's going on in the chat? What's a DOP? He said 250 DOP, whatever that is. Anybody know? Oh, there it is. It says Crazy Louie DOP says Blizzard, StarCraft, Ghost, and Revive Blackthorn. I'm not even sure what DOP means, but hey, we'll take it, Crazy Louie.
It's the currency.
It's the currency.
Yes, currency, but I have no clue what that is. I'll have to look it up.
Dominican Republic, isn't it? Because I know he's from the Dominican originally, I think.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, Never seen it before. Peso, probably. There you go. Might be Dominican Republic peso. Stitch 6669. He drops $4.99 in the super chat. The only reason why everyone is making this about COD is because COD is the game that makes Sony the most money. No Sony first party can do that. He does have a point. COD is the biggest game on their platform, and it's not even made by them. That's the crazy part. And this is why, like I said, their underwear went right up their bum holes after Tuesday, because they're just like, what? I mean, that's the first thing they were thinking. Is like, oh my God, they might take COD from us. But like I said,
they made an announcement real quick when that happened. We hope that Microsoft acknowledges our
They got nervous. They got instantly nervous, and rightfully so. When it comes to the different ecosystems between the different platforms, the competitor has to, they're definitely. I mentioned it on my show. They have to be careful because they are on the verge of becoming a niche system like Nintendo. Because now Microsoft, they pretty much have all of the major Western RPGs outside of BioWare, which who knows, they might grab them one day soon. They have all the big shooters now. They'll have Call of Duty, they have Overwatch, they have Titanfall.
Don't forget Halo.
And
Halo. They have Halo. So if you're a person that just likes to play shooters, Microsoft is for you. So when it comes to PlayStation, they pretty much they'll corner the Japanese, RPG market, as well as then they have their exclusive third-party narrative, cutscene movie games. So if that's your thing, you have that, but you don't really have too much more when it comes to a broad library. So they're falling into that niche thing like Nintendo, where Nintendo's only known for certain things. PlayStation is falling into that right now. So unless they can start pushing some new stuff to kind of branch into these other avenues, that's where they're headed. They're going to become niche. And I mean, that's not a bad thing because Nintendo is niche and they're very successful with what they got. But when you think about it, like I have a Switch. I don't play it as much as I do my Xbox. I mean, people are still going to buy that niche console, but they're not going to play it as much. Now, so that's a factor that people aren't really seeing happening.
And how awesome is it that Crash Bandicoot, who was an unofficial PlayStation mascot for a long time, is now over at Xbox as well. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody saw this, but I uploaded this tattoo of Crash Bandicoot holding PlayStation controller with all this PlayStation stuff when Just in Time came out. Somebody got a tattoo of it. And I'm like, imagine being this guy right now.
Oh, yeah. But
I thought the same way with Spyro, because like Spyro was always the one that I always thought of Spyro as kind of like an unofficial mascot for Sony, because they've always been like that big one they push, so like see that it's just like, it's like crazy, it's like, wow, they stole one of their mascots.
I felt like that about Crash Bandicoot, right? Because Crash Bandicoot, was not for Sony. So,
hey, is it safe to say, if Microsoft, if you happen to be listening, is it safe to say now, guys, that we should finally get our own Mario Kart-esque game on the Xbox with all of these amazing IP characters in there? Like, the sky is the limit here. This would be nuts. Can you imagine Conker and Banjo and Spyro and all of these in one kart racing game? That would be absolutely nuts. Not to mention like Master Chief or Marcus Phoenix or Skylanders. My lord. Microsoft, you're sitting on a mountain of money you don't even know you got yet. Let me tell you.
They can definitely make a new Crash Team Racing and then just have other characters cameo on there,
Yep. That's what I'm saying. They're sitting on a mountain of money, man, like a Smash Bros kind of game or any of that. So you fill those voids that other consoles have, but you have your own market for it. I mean, you don't want to be just known as a shooter box or an RPG box, and they got plenty of that, but you got to cater, like I said, and I think platformers and stuff like that that's family friendly. I mean, like a lot of it, because of Game Pass, you could turn a lot of these games into live action games where basically, you don't have to make a brand new game every 2 or 3 years. You add some tracks, you add some characters, you keep it going. We do see that with a lot of games, and I'm not a huge fan. Again, that's on a case by case basis as well, but you could definitely have games like I said, Guitar Hero, or even say a racing game like that, where you
DJ
keep
Hero as
adding
well.
stuff. DJ Hero, Guitar Hero, and just keep adding instead of constantly building something from scratch. And then it keeps people invested in buying, because that's, like I said, content is king. It's a content war, not a console war. And that's the thing with Sony, right? I mean, their big thing is always the console sale. What the people still don't get through their head is consoles don't make them the money. That's the problem. It's not making them bank. And this is why the industry has been changing, especially nowadays with the consoles costing so much up front and them taking a huge hit to even bring these things out. I mean, there's a reason PCs, high-tech PC is still costing you over $1,000, and you're getting a console with the same capability for a fraction of the price, and you're kind of going, how does that even work? Well, it works because they keep taking the hit, and they make it up on those super expensive damn controllers and everything else that they sell. That's where they make the money, but it's a gloating factor for them. And Microsoft knows it's in the engagement, because the more people engage means the more money that keeps flowing. And anybody can tell you, it's no good for a restaurant to have one good day a week where everybody comes in and the rest of the days of the week are crappy. A restaurant would rather have people make less money in one day but have money all the week long. That's how it works. That's how it goes. They want consistent dollars. They want you to be roped in for today, tomorrow, and next year. It's not just about hey, let's sell 1 million copies now and nobody cares about it in 6 months.
We've been saying for a few years now that Sony is lacking a multiplayer first party.
Big
They
time.
are the single player console, and there is no long lasting income stream in a single player market. You get that bump when you first sell the game, sure, but there's no, look, they make a lot of money off Call of Duty because Call of Duty, like Scrub says, people go back and they pay for the passes and they pay for the stuff, and they $20 here, $10 there. But when you do that by millions of players, hundreds of thousands of players, that's a lot of money to be leaving on the table.
Yes.
And why they haven't up to this point said, you know what, we need to make a first party multiplayer game so we can have that kind of excitement and not be dependent on this third party for our money. Because the third party is what's been propping them up in that sense. And all of a sudden that leg may be gone, and what's going to hold it up after that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they come and announce a SOCOM within the next 6 months, because there's been a whole bunch of rumors about it, but now this is going to probably push their buttons to move further. And to all the people who are saying monopolies and all that stuff, which are pretty much disingenuous, Xbox is in third place in revenue, and a lot of that's because they're buying more stuff, so they're not seeing the revenue yet and when the games come out. But then, I mean, you're still not talking about you got Tencent, you got, what's the name of that? Oh yeah, Embracer Group. There's all these other people that are buying all these studios. This is not a monopoly as well. It's just disingenuous people, because it was said, Destin put it out, hey, if this was PlayStation, a lot of this wouldn't be said at all. And I think this is why Microsoft might keep Call of Duty on all the platforms, because nobody said this is all they're buying. It might be a little bit longer before they buy something else, but you can easily say to the government or whoever's looking in to see if this is a monopoly, we didn't take Call of Duty and put it just on our platform. We gave it to everybody else. So we'll see.
Tell you what, it went from Xbox has no games to Monopoly real quick, huh?
Yeah,
exactly. And span 2 years.
Mostly the people pushing Monopoly are the ones who depend on clickbait to get attention.
Exactly. It's very disingenuous.
Can we get a little GIF?
We don't know what it is.
We need a little gift now of Phil Spencer, with the little Monopoly guy's suit on and the hat. Oh, we too funny. Hey, Shane Tomlin, good friend of the show. He comes in with what's that? £5. I'd love a prototype reboot that could make that basically Xbox's Spider-Man. I think that's what he's trying to say. But Candy Crush would be a close second. So fiddly diddly that. I'll have to say it in Cletus's voice. Well, hey, fiddly diddly that. Yeah, here's your lady. All right, there we go. Any further thoughts here?
I wanted to touch on Guitar Hero because I know a lot of people, are fans of Guitar Hero, and I've seen a lot of passion in chat about how people want that to come back. I'm skeptical because I have to look at it from a different light. Now, gaming has evolved so much now that for a game to succeed today, it has to be a game that can succeed on Twitch. And a game like Guitar Hero in today's environment cannot because of DMCA strikes and all the copyrights on music. It would be a game that would just nobody would want to stream it because they would be in constant fear of getting striked on their channel, And so it just yes, I get the love for wanting it, but we're in a different environment now for gaming. Twitch makes and breaks games.
But there are some non-DMCA music that can be used if you get some rights to say, hey, you can play this music. I don't know. There's some workarounds.
They can do that, but be real. Who's going to want to play the royalty-free music over Aerosmith and everybody else?
I understand.
So that's
pretty damn good
music edition, play some Ori. Some nice
pretty good original tunes of Beat Saber, I can tell you.
Yes.
I could see them doing what they would call streamer packs of music. You could have your regular game, but then they would have the streamer packs.
Yeah, they would definitely have to go with the mindset of making sure they can make it a game that can succeed on Twitch because Twitch will completely destroy that game succeeding.
Microsoft will have to buy their own music studios now just so they can avoid the copyright.
That's what I was going to say. You spend money for symphonies to do soundtracks for your games. You might have to get a 3 or 4 bands to play music just for Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the music companies haven't decided to have their own subscription service for streamers. They say they pay a fee every month in order to play as much as music they want.
That's a great idea.
And then you say what now?
Some of them do that, like Monster Cat and some other ones. They do that already.
So there's a monthly fee they pay in order to be able to stream. Well, see, that needs to be more put to the forefront so that all streamers, even the small people who don't have these huge audiences, could be able to play music and tap into that. I think that'd be cool.
Hey, big shout out to Delilah's GWG panel mates. They're in the house. I see Lady Infamous here gracing us with her presence. El Boogie was here earlier and Charisse here as well. Shout out to the ladies at GWG. Thanks for stopping by and representing and showing up here. It's good to see you in the chat, and hopefully we'll see more of you ladies on the community game night coming out and kicking some bum. So that would be good. All right. Any further thoughts? Anybody have anything that they missed or would like to close out on before we hand it over to Coolcat Terri and the Indie Spotlight?
#, we want Terry.
There was something else. There was something else, but now I don't know if I'm going to remember it in time. But there was something else. But it's
Axel, you have anything else to share with us here?
You mean when I'm not wearing a mask? No, I have nothing.
Okay. Everybody's good. All right. Well, like I said, I think this topic is going to be talked about. There's going to be facets of this that are going to come up for many, many months to come. You will hear it on various podcasts, and it's good because everybody has a little bit of a different take on it. But at the end of the day, I think we all know what this means, and it's not about putting anybody out of business or anything like that. It's about growing Game Pass. Microsoft is fully invested. And that's what I always say with anything. That's like anything in life, to be successful, whether it's your own personal stuff or gaming or whatever. If you don't go all in and you don't put everything into it, then, did you really try? You know what I mean? If you go half-assed into anything and you get half-assed results, then I guess, that's where it lies. Hey, I'm the victim of myself. Sometimes I know I get on here and I have some wine with my cheese, and I talk about this, that, and something else, or why my channel is not blowing up the way I think it should have blown up a little bit. And And I got to come back to myself a lot of times, and it's just you get out of it what you put into it. Luckily for me, I have 2 fantastic panels on Tuesday nights and right here on Sunday mornings that are with me for this amazing ride. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But anyway, kudos to Microsoft, and like I said, stepping up to the plate. And it's nice now that they don't have to worry about constant Call of Duty content exclusivity on the competing platforms. Now that crap will at least be done, at least once their contracts expire. So if there's one thing that you're guaranteed, is that is over. That is over for PlayStation, and that alone is going to make a dent into their revenue. But hey, you know what, PlayStation, you're really good at making first party single player games. As Paul said, maybe now you start putting some money into some multiplayer stuff, maybe reviving some franchises. You're sitting on stuff like Resistance and Killzone, and just because the last Killzone didn't light the world on fire doesn't make the franchise dead or nobody loves it. There is a lot of Killzone fans out there, and you have the tech. SOCOM, yes,
SOCOM.
They're sitting on their own, but it's like they don't invest. It's like they're almost like they're afraid if they don't have a game that comes out and it's not a landmine hit that they just let's move on. You know what I mean? Like, no, again, you get out what you put in, and you gotta just keep pounding it to the streets. You got the player base, you got the install base. So if you actually come up with a really good game, and you should be enough talent out there to make a decent first person game or a shooter or whatever it is that's gonna kind of turn that tide for the multiplayer and co-op. But that's what I want to see. Like when the next Uncharted game comes out, add a co-op mode to it, for the love of God. You mean, how many years have you been playing with Sully and you got the girls? You always got a character with you, but nobody can ever play as them. I don't know
They don't
how
want to play together.
Bloody hard it is to add a second player to any of their games. It just drives you bonkers. Even Ratchet and Clank, you can't use Clank. You got to be one of the two. It's like, take a risk, innovate a little bit. Stop doing copy and paste.
They said they're the single player experience, third person over the shoulder, so they won't do co-op because that totally throws off their thing. Every game is third person, single player.
Man, well, I think there are some of their executives got a little too much of a single player experience.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, let's getting into that gaming after dark territory. Let's get over to Coolcat Terri and the Indie Spotlight. Terri, I'll let you take it away.
All right, so I have a game that I've been sitting on for a little while. I've been waiting for the perfect time to do it, and it's because I first played it a couple years back when it was early access on Steam, and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to see what they did with it. And a big reason why I haven't showed it until now is because now is the time it's finally available pretty much everywhere. So now's the time for me to show it to you guys. So I want to go over a game called Deep Rock Galactic. Some of you might already be familiar. Let me go ahead and play one of the trailers that they made for it. Quick. Hold on. I totally forgot to share my audio on it. 1 second.
That's all right. From the top.
Mistakes were made. All right, hold on.
Jay.
Share audio.
And so I keep having friends tell me to play this damn game.
All right, try again. Take 2.
Bend your backs to take your gold. Dark and dirt is what we know. Deep in rock is where we go. Tunnel deep, I tunnel long. All the while I'll sing this song. There's dirt to shift and bugs to hit. I wouldn't trade any of it. Bugs that fly and bugs that crawl in the air and on the wall. Web and acid, shell and bone. Watch that bolt dead for she blows. Heave ho for rock and stone. Bend your backs to take your gold. Dark and dirt is what we know. Deep in rock is where we go. Leave no dwarf behind. Call that resupply. You don't rock and stone, you ain't coming home. Leave no dwarf behind, call that resupply. Rock and stone! Rock and stone, dwarf is coming home. Rock and stone, bend your backs to take your gold. Dark and dirt is what we know. Deep in rock is where we go.
Gets a thumbs up for the music.
So Deep Rock Galactic, it's a PvE co-op first-person shooter experience. You can have up to 4 players in this game. 100% destructible environments. I know that's something that some people really get into, is being able to actually destroy stuff. You can destroy pretty much everything in there outside of like main platforms that you have to like build for like your quest. You might have to make like a mining platform. You can't break that, but otherwise everything else you can just destroy it to your heart's content and possibly get yourself killed in the process because you went too deep. So it's lots of good fun. Highly recommend it. So you pretty much you go in and you have to mine ore, or they might send you in to repair, some mining pipelines and things. You get attacked by all kinds of different insects. It's definitely a good time to be had. Great co-op experience. I really enjoyed playing this game. You can pick it up for $30 on PC, or it is on Game Pass, so you can go ahead and enjoy it on Game Pass. And for those of you who are on PlayStation, they recently dropped it for PlayStation Plus, so go ahead and you can grab it over there as well. So it's a fantastic game. Must play.
There you go, Deep Rock Galactic. Yes, you can play it on Game Pass right now. Good stuff right there. How about you, Delilah? You play that one?
Yeah, I've actually played a little bit of it. It's every time I see that game, I think about when Press Play. I don't know if anyone of you all remember that development team, but Press Play, they made like Kalimba and Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood. But this game, Deep Rock Galactic, is actually a spin-off from that original team. They split into like 3 different companies, and this was one of the companies. But they was kind of like remnants of that whole thing in 2017 when Microsoft closed Lionhead Studios back in the day. But this was one of the incubator games that kind of was birthed out of that. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, great game. Very, very fun co-op game for sure.
I've never played it, but I've had numerous buddies say, you got to try this, Newf. I don't know what was to just turn me off, but actually looking at that trailer now, I might have to jump in. Scrub, do you have anything you want to share with us today in terms of games to Game Pass? We know one big one dropped this past Tuesday in terms of Rainbow Six Extraction. So do you have anything you'd like to share, or just move the show right along? And do you have to go right away?
At the top of the hour, but yeah, I can go through here real quick because there are some games, and I know we hadn't talked about it in a couple of weeks, so let me share screen real quick.
That's right. We got you on the big screen now. The ladies can have a gawk at you.
Oh, God, no. Let's change that real quick. So, all right, let's move us over here. So, I am on Game Pass Counter. So, we're going to look at first things leaving soon. We got Xenocrisis, Cyber Shadow, Prison Architect. If these games interest you, they are leaving on the 31st. So, a good thing with Game Pass. If a game is leaving, you can buy it before it goes and you get a discount on it. So, and a lot of these games are not $60. So even with the discount, you can get some games pretty cheap. So check that out if you want to get any of these games before they go. Coming soon, we don't have a bunch coming soon, but I know it's been teased and we've seen the trailers for Total War, Warhammer 3. So that's coming in February. And now let's go to the Xbox app itself, because I like to look at this, and every time they change it, I think they just do better and better each time they upgrade it. So, like it was said, Rainbow Six Siege Extraction. Play it. Try it out. It looks fun. We got Hitman Trilogy that just got added. So, to all the Hitman lovers, check these games out. I remember playing the first Hitman on PC way back when I was in college. These games are always fun. You got the trilogy out. They have updated this stuff. This game is gorgeous if you've seen any gameplays or played it itself. So if you've been a Hitman fan, you kind of fell off or you never tried it, please check out Hitman Trilogy. And because Scrub likes to go pew pew, I endorse that fully. Also, a game that was not in here, which was a big game, a big push for maybe Game of the Year last year, Death's Door, right here. Game Pass.
Yes.
Try it out. Nobody saves the world, like Newf was saying earlier. A lot of people been interested in trying this guy. I've been hearing great things about it. Check it out. See what it's about. We also seen trailers for this. Anacrusis is on game preview right now. So if you want to jump in to see what it's about, see if this is something that you like, the great thing about Game Pass, you're already paying the subscription. Try out whatever you like. There's so many different games you can jump on. Outer Wilds. And then we also have the Mass Effect trilogy. Remember, we were all jumping on this a couple months back and playing and stuff. Well, now it's in Game Pass. If you never had a chance to really grab it and play it then because you didn't want to spend the extra money, now you got it now. Your backlog should be just growing each day. There should not be anybody who's an Xbox fan and says there's nothing for them to play. So, Spelunky 2, I remember the first one, but if that's something that's you down with, Spelunky 2, check it out. But there's so many things in here. Check this out, the app. Also go to GamePassCounter.com and it'll show you all the games that are on here. I think we did mention Mortal Kombat and Among Us the last couple of times we were on here. So that's all I have right now. Play what you like to play. Nobody's saying you gotta love Game Pass, but it's a great deal. Why not try it out?
It's hard not to love it, though. I mean, my God, it's got just about everything.
Oh yeah.
The worst part is it just only makes your backlog like 50 times worse. I'm just looking at it in the chat. I wanted to get back to playing Back 4 Blood. Now we got Rainbow Six Extraction. I still haven't played Aliens Fire Team. It's just like, what the heck?
Right.
Give me a break. Oh my God. Yes, it's definitely a great value. There is no question about that. So I'll ask you that question, Delilah, just kind of getting back to the whole topic, the acquisition as well. I predicted it on this show. Do you think that Game Pass stays status quo in terms of price for a while, or do you think we'll see an early price hike? Because we're starting to see that kind of floating around the internet as well. So do you think it's just, it's going to take some time and that, Xbox wants to get the numbers up long before they consider that sort of stuff? And I don't hear you, Delilah. You get your mic on?
Yeah.
I was just saying, I don't know. I would hope that the price would stay as low as possible. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, I think it's inevitable. I mean, that's the way of the world right now. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. I'm actually shocked in a sense that some of the consoles haven't even seen an increase. And people might say, well, that sounds ludicrous. Well, does it? Because I know in my business, I work in retail, and I saw stuff like freaking outdoor hockey nets went nearly doubled in price. Like our bikes went up exponentially, hundreds of dollars.
You can get bikes, yeah.
Yeah, bikes went up. Everything went up.
I was gonna say, did you notice that that the Series S even had like a price decrease in some places too?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
it's craziness.
Who knows, right? Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know.
We'll have to see. I think they'll wait until the numbers are a little bit more solidified, but with that much content and paying out that much money, I think it's inevitable. It's just it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? So, but I don't want to spell any, come across and put any crap in people's heads, because we don't know. It could be years out, but I think if it does, it'll go up in incremental. It won't go up like a lot. You're not going to see this massive thing where it's going to scare people away. That's the last thing you want to do. You'll ease people into it, and even if it went up $10 tomorrow, I don't think there's a single person, at least from the Xbox community, would say, well, that's still a bad deal. But that's the point. You have to draw the line somewhere too. I've said this with Netflix. Like Netflix has had 6 increases or something like that now, and 3 or 4 in the last just recently. I mean, I think Terry, you went off on this last week. This is the dangers. You know, you bait people in, and then you start slapping people upside the head. You talked about that too, Terry.
When it comes to Game Pass, though, I mean, I can see up the price going up, but I don't see it going up anytime soon. Just because they like you already touched on, they want to encourage people to get on Game Pass. They're not going to raise it when they're still trying to get more people to subscribe. If anything, with them getting Bethesda, and now they have Activision and Blizzard, and Ubisoft Plus is coming on Xbox. They might try to get that on Game Pass in the future too. They might try to do another sign up event like they did when Game Pass first came out, where everybody could sign up for $1. They might do something like that again to be like, hey, you want to get access to all this stuff? Sign up now with this new low price. For first time signups. They're probably going to do something like that again to really boost their numbers. And then once people are sitting pretty and they've renewed after they got that, then they'll might do a hike after that point.
I got a theory. I think before they do any price hikes, I think they'll turn that $10 into $15 across the board, because Game Pass Ultimate is definitely you have so many more options just over Game Pass. You can be able to connect you and your PC. You throw in your cloud gaming. It's so much better deal, even though it's only $5 more. You get access to stuff. Some of the games, when you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get to play it early. And I think that'll be big when they do get Call of Duty. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, guess what? You get to play Call of Duty a couple of days earlier, which is going to bring in more money. I think before they decide to hike up, to $20 or whatever, they'll try to bring the $10 subscriptions up to $15.
Indeed.
If that's what I would do first before I would hike up 15 to 20 or more.
Yeah. That's what I say. It's all speculation, and the last thing you want to do is, because people take that crap and they run with it. They go, oh, somebody could hear us talking and then make up their own mind that something's going to happen that isn't. So, Paul, you've been kind of quiet down there.
If anybody's listening to me, they need to get their brain checked. I think 1995 is the magic number for when it does go up. And I don't think it will go up before they roll Ubisoft into Game Pass, and I can see that happening in the next year or so.
Well, I can tell you this much to put it in reflection. I pay twice as much a month just for this StreamYard now than I do for Game Pass. So that put that in your pipe and smoke it. Right?
Ouch! Yeah.
I had to give in with StreamYard because they cut me off, because apparently on the free one you can only do like so many hours of podcasting before that's it. You get cut off. So I got to the point, I think it was last month, where I literally had to, otherwise we couldn't be doing podcasts. And not to mention, when we have guests on, when we go over 6, if you have any more than 6 people, you can't get them in. You got to kick somebody out of your stream.
Yeah. So
there you go. So now I'm kind of loopholed into paying a subscription fee for this. But hey, it's worth it in the long haul, because I love doing this, and you guys are family, and it is what it is. But it's kind of hefty, considering, like I said, I'm paying nearly double than what I pay for Game Pass.
Yeah.
So.
But like Scrub touched on, I mentioned it too. I think their big push is the cloud, so I can see them rolling cloud into and upping the $10 price, and that way everybody has access to the mobile side of things, because that's going to be the big, really getting eyes on everything that they offer. And
perhaps you do a tiered system as well, where you have Game Pass in various tiers, and you don't have to pay the ultimate fee, like Netflix does it with the high definition service and stuff like that.
And that's called nickel and diming, and I really hope they don't go that route.
You just want the one pass for all?
It would be nice. It really would. Instead of, $10 here, $15 there. Oh, I wish I could do that, but I got to pay an extra $5. That becomes annoying as hell.
Simpler at the end of the day. One pass to rule them all, but
right. And I think it just hasn't been explained enough why there's a difference and what do you get with that difference. I know we delve deep into it, but I think a lot of people yeah, they're paying $10, but if they see all the extra, they maybe never touched cloud before. Maybe they go, well, I have um, Xbox, but I don't have a big, gigantic PC to play. You don't need it. You
Yeah.
know, a tablet, your laptop, all that stuff you can play, no problem. XCloud is getting a lot better as you go. Axel can tell you. So I think when, like I said, and these big games, or like say Forza Horizon, guess what? You had Game Pass Ultimate, you got to play it early. I mean, different stuff like that will entice people. And I think, like I said, once they get Call of Duty, that will push a lot of people to do that.
Oh yeah.
Paul or Axel, you guys have any? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know you said you're using StreamYard, but I know a lot of people who have been using StreamYard switched to Melon because it's cheaper. So you might want to look into that. That's just want to put it out there.
There you
All
go.
of a sudden, our show gets cut off because you mentioned that. It's like,
No,
That's it.
I'm gonna try look at that.
yeah, it's called melons. Like like the fruit. So
Melon, yeah.
melon. Yeah,
Gotcha.
melon.
MELON. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's almost like a clone to StreamYard. I mean, it has some of the same features, like the
Right.
zoom in you're doing. They able to switch screens, share screens, stuff like that. Yeah.
Was it
Well,
going
I'll
to
definitely
1080?
say in defense of StreamYard, the best thing about it, and it was Mr. Boomstick XL is the kind of one who got me onto this. And I find the one thing, it's simple. It seems to work
Easy,
good
yeah.
because
Mhm.
God knows that YouTube Hangouts crap, that thing was a mess. It seemed like every second or third week that shit just did not work.
Mhm.
And I'm almost, at first I was disappointed he took it away, but now it's like, yeah, I could never go back. This one is just so much more efficient, so easy to use. And that's why I like it. So it's just something simple. But anyway, not to be talking about the streaming the streaming service as we are getting back to the topics on hand. Axel or Cerebral Paul, do you guys have anything from your particular segments to throw into the ring, or shall we just move it right along?
I can say that the Microsoft Ability Summit is coming up in, I want to say, April. Sign-ups happen in March. You can see my pinned tweet on my Twitter, Cerebral Paul 1, if you're interested in going to that. And you don't have to be disabled to go to that. If you're just interested in what they're doing and what they're looking at and things like that, it can be very informative. And even, like I said, even if you're not disabled, but you may know people who have difficulties gaming, and it may help answer some of their questions as well, or show them what they have coming up. And it goes beyond gaming as well. It's all across Microsoft. Uh, Voice recognition, eye tracking, the whole bit. It's all there. So yeah. So like I said, check out my tweet, my pinned tweet on my account.
Indeed. And all the contact information for everybody on this panel are down below in the YouTube description. Well, let's move it over to, I guess, one of the other sort of big things that dropped this week that really got overshadowed because, again, the news has been very predominantly about the acquisition. But Rainbow Six Extraction came out this past week. Some people are playing it. We'll start with Coolcat Terri on this because I know she liked Rainbow Six, and I hear you've been playing Extraction. How do you feel about it so far? Is it worthwhile jumping into it? And I'll get everybody's take. If you have played it, if you haven't, we can just move around. I haven't played it. I have nothing to say about it other than I will definitely try it very soon. How about you, Terry?
I've been playing it a lot. I got glued to it yesterday and played it all day. So, no, it's a fantastic game. They did a great job making this one, and it's one of those games where I like the direction they went, but at the same time, they're getting a little bit more of a negative push because it's hard to get PvP players to transition into the way you have to play on this PvE game. So so what I mean by that is Extraction is a game where you need communication, you need teamwork, you cannot run and gun, you cannot just be like every man for themselves. I'm going to do what I want. You can't be the guy that's going to be, I'm not going to do objectives, I'm just going to get kills. All that PvP nonsense that people do, that will not fly in this game. You will regret your life decisions for doing that. Because in this game, your operators will go MIA if you die. That means you cannot use that operator ever again until you go and rescue them from where you lost them. Your operators also, as you play, will get injured, which means you cannot play with them anymore until they have time to heal over time. And the only way they heal is that you have to complete objectives so that way they can heal over time. So you actually have to have tactics, because otherwise you're gonna run out of people to play with really quick if you decide to act like some PvP bonehead who just wants to go in there and shoot things. You're gonna have no one to go in there to shoot things with. So you have to be smart. And I know some of the backlash is with the game being repetitive, but let's be honest, it's a shooter. They're all repetitive. What do? You spawn a map, you run around the same map, and you shoot 20 people, and you do that on repeat for however many hours of your day. If you can do that in PvP, there's no reason why you can't do this. A mix of objectives over and over on a shooter. It's the same concept. So I just want to push back on that nonsense. No, I do definitely recommend this game. It's well done. And I want to applaud them for like I said with the operators going MIA and having to heal. I want to applaud them for doing that because this is something that gamers are not accustomed to. Gamers are used to when they play a game, they find their favorite character and they only play that one character and that's it. This encourages and forces players to start changing up their play style. Don't just pick that one favorite. You have to use everybody. They have different skill sets, different play styles. This is better for you to improve your ability as a gamer, improve your own skills, so that you're not just doing what's comfortable. Get out of the box. This is a great thing, even though they're getting pushed back on it. This is a great thing. So I definitely want to put that in there. But it's on Game Pass, so I mean, if you can at least try it out. See if it's for you or not, and if it's not for you, then hey, at least you didn't drop full price on it. And for those of you that do not have Game Pass, or maybe you plan on another platform, they do have the Buddy Pass, so you can go ahead, you can play the game. 2 of your friends can play the game with you for free for I think 14 days or something like that, and then if they end up liking it, then they can buy it. So they do have options there for everybody to kind of try this out, whether it's Game Pass or using the Buddy Pass. So I mean, you don't have too much to lose, especially if you're the buddy who's just mooching off of somebody else. So, I mean, go for it.
Oh, yeah. You're mute, Newf.
Does it feel like a separate game entity, or does this really feel like an expansion? Because that's where people kind of come in, and does it really matter? I mean, if the game is fun, it plays well, and it looks good. But how would you kind of sum it up?
I mean, I wouldn't really call it an expansion. I mean, yes, it's a spin-off of Siege because they had their special event that that bred this game. You're using the same operators from Siege. So if you're familiar with Siege, you're going to be familiar with how the different operators play. So I mean, and all that's still there. But it's its own game because when I'm playing it, even though I can look around the corner and I have the same gadgets that the operators have in Siege, I don't feel like I'm playing Siege because I don't have to worry about some random player busting through the wall and or putting cameras all over the place. I don't have to deal with that nonsense. I can just focus on the objective, and it forces you to be more stealth because when Siege isn't really that stealthy. It's a lot of explosions and people busting through walls. So it's definitely doesn't feel like an expansion to me, at least. I feel like I'm playing a full standalone game of its own right, and they did a really good job with it, in my opinion, with how they designed it.
Nice. Let's get over to our guest and Delilah HD. How about you, Delilah? Have you played it? And this is another big boost for Game Pass. Are you planning to play it then?
I probably not, to be honest with you. I watched the ladies play it. The ladies on the GWG podcast panel. And yeah, so I probably won't play it. The thing is, it's only a 3-player. It's not the typical 4-player co-op experience. It's like 3 players. So it's similar to your Destiny in that regard. And so they've played it. When I say they, I mean like Cherise, El Boogie, and Lady. And they're big. They're more bigger on the shooters than I am, so I let them have it. I had my interest is like it's just. Plus, I heard it's a little scary too, and I don't do hard games. So.
Fair enough.
It's not scary.
Okay.
Cerebral Paul had
thanks for that. I can't play scary games, and I'm loving this. It's not scary.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I find most games when you're playing co-op anyway never seem quite as scary. I don't know. It's just the way they come across to me. Cerebral Paul had to go, by the way. I guess he's having some nasty weather in his area and is probably having internet connection. So we wish Paul all the best, and we'll see him back here next week. So Paul, catch you online, my brother. Thanks for being here. And again, catch out Cerebral Paul and all those other podcasts. The link is down below to his social media and other places where you can find him. So go check him out. I see Italian Clowns is in the house. 4GQTV. What's going on, brother? Good to see you here. Killer Scorpion. Doggy Dog still hanging out with us. Lady Infamous here. Lost Forever in the house as well. What is going on? Splendiferous here. Dizzy Delta. I see Wild Bates. My buddy is here. What's going on, Bates? HTK 360. Fastback in the house. Lots of our next level gaming brothers here. Good to see you all. OCD Gamer, what's happening? The list goes on. Amazing crew in the chat this morning. Heck, we almost hit 80, I think, in here at one point, which might be a new record for this 80. Podcast. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you all. That's great. That's a step in the right direction. Maybe it's a topic, or just maybe they came to see Delilah this morning.
Both.
Both. Yes, I think a bit of both. Absolutely.
Probably both, yeah.
Probably both. Absolutely. Like I said, we could always use more ladies on the panel here all the time. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's hand it over to you, Scrub. Final thoughts before we let you get out of here. I know you're probably rushed for time. Rainbow Six, have you played it? No?
No. I have watched at least about 1 or 2 hours of other people playing it. Different channels. To me, it reminds me. So I'm just giving you my impressions for what I watched. So a lot of times you can watch something, when you play it, you get a whole totally different feeling. I'm getting a little kind of Back for Blood vibes, as like Terry was saying about, you have your player, they have to heal. You can't just run and gun. You have to talk and play together to get through the mission. Yes, you cannot just, such and such is our best shooter, so we're going to go over here while they do. That's not going to work. You're going to be hearing a lot of yelling, and you're going to be running backwards and do this. You can't get left by the group. All those kind of things. You have to work together. I like Rainbow Six a little bit, the way they have it now. Siege, it's okay. It's not my biggest, most fun game to play. This Distraction, it has not immersed me in yet watching it to want to just really play it, but I'm probably going to download it just so I can say, hey, is this for me? Is it not for me? It to me, it does look like we're going down the corridor, get this part, clear out this area, and then you have them rushing in. Like I said, I have a lot of thinking of Back for Blood in this case scenario. I think it is good that they force you, just like Back for Blood, you can only use this amount of people. You might have to sit this person to the side. I think that it is cool in that situation when you're trying to do something that's more tactical. And that might push a lot of player base who just want to shoot things. I think that kind of changes up the way the game plays and makes it different from any other game. So I applaud them for it. A lot of Rainbow Six players, when the Extraction event was there, that's what they were clamoring for. Do it again, do it again, do it again. So hopefully they are happy with what is going on. But to me, that is not a game right now that just makes me want to jump for joy and jump on. Like Back for Blood, I love what I had, but so many other games came out and I haven't gotten back to that. I mean, me and you, Newf, played beta and the actual game. We hadn't touched it since Halo started dropping all its stuff. So
pretty much.
But it's one of those things that's on Game Pass. If that's something that's up your alley, then it's perfect for you. Just because me or somebody else on the panel likes or dislikes something doesn't mean that's how you should feel about it. So we are all individuals and we all like to play different stuff. So yes, this is a shooter game, but it's just not me right now.
You know what killed Back for Blood for me, honestly, wasn't the game itself. It was the difficulty. Like, these games are getting stupid. Like when you get playing with 3 other people and you're getting your butt literally handed to you game after game after game, and you're not progressing. I mean, I kind of get the point behind it, but there's got to be a Like I found, I mean, all these games kind of borrow that remedy from or recipe off of the original Left 4 Dead. Certainly Back 4 Blood
Mhm.
does, but I don't remember Left 4 Dead being that bloody tough. Like, I mean, I used to be able to get through most of the levels in Left 4 Dead, and I used to get, usually most of the time when it got really nuts was usually that last, that last part before the extraction. But this thing is just punishing. Like sometimes you can't even get through the first 3 segments and you're like all dead. I mean, I know it's teamwork, but to me, like I don't want every game to start becoming the Dark Souls of shooters. Like what the heck, man? Like give us a break. Just before we get back to that, I'm going to address the super chat. And Abacab, I see you in the chat, bro. Don't worry, we see you here. Thanks for being here in the support, guys. Rain G4, good to see you. We got our good friend Mandingo Mexicans. Newf. Extraction for me wasn't much fun. I enjoy Siege far more. More game mode options. Don't like the lose your character when you die. It seems dry. Well, thanks for that, and we appreciate your opinion. And all
Wait,
that
is
stuff.
permadeath?
Permadeath.
No.
No,
No,
but
it does not have permanent.
Okay,
Yeah,
but it takes a while before you can use that player again.
I see. Okay.
Totally.
You can get that character pretty quick. A trick to that for those who are like discouraged because they might have to get to the 3rd zone to get your character. When you first load in, just extract immediately and go back in until it's on the first wave and just get your character. It's not that complicated. There's ways around it. Something that I do want to kind of reiterate, because this is something I see all the time when it comes to games. It's very easy for gamers when they have a game they don't like. It's very easy for them to just be over the top negative and go on about how the game is no good, the game is trash. When in reality, the game is good. It's just not your kind of game.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. If the game's not for you, that's fine. Play something that is for you, but don't be like some of those other gamers that'll just go and just talk about how trash the game is. The game isn't trash. It's just not your game.
Absolutely.
There's other people that are going to enjoy it for what it is. Like for me, I enjoy that game, and I'm not big on shooters. This is one that I'm actually having fun with. So I would by no means it's just a pet peeve when I see people say that game is trash because I hate it, therefore it's trash. That's just ridiculous. Stop doing that.
You're absolutely correct. Yes. I always said that if I don't play, that's why, like I said, I can't sit here and go, well, Rainbow Six Extraction is good or it's bad or it's well. I haven't played it. That's not fair to any dev or the game in general to be like that. Like I always say with the Dark Souls franchise, I'm not very good at them. I like the games. I think they're amazing. Heck, I'm almost tempted to even go out and still buy Elden Ring, even though I'm sure it'll beat me into a pulp. But the game looks so good. I want to play those games. I'm addicted to wanting to at least try them, and they're amazing. I'm just crappy at them, and I'm not. I guess it's not so much my skill level, because I think anybody can. I don't have the patience. That's number one. It's not my skill, because I know I'm as skilled as most of anybody that plays some of these games. Maybe not everybody, but I don't doubt my skill. It's my patience level. You need to have patience and persistence to be good at them, and I don't. I get frustrated, and when I'm at the point of breaking something, I step away, and that sometimes I never come back, and that's kind of sad. So, yeah. Scrub, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, I got to get out. I'm just saying, everybody have a great rest of the weekend, whatever's left of it. Have fun and play some games. Thank you, Delilah, for coming and chilling with us and hearing what you have to say about games. We're glad to have you. We've been talking about getting more folks in here, so we appreciate you jumping in with us. Hope Axel gets better. We hope Shaddai gets better. I mean, they finally pulled him out the hole and put him in a nice, comfy, white collar prison, and see how that goes. So you guys be safe out there. Y'all have a great week. There are so many other podcasts. I know a lot of people were talking, well, this is the end of the week. Should we still talk about Xbox acquisition and stuff? Because everybody else talking about it. Yes, everybody else talking about it, but nobody gets to hear what you say until you're in front of the camera and the people. As you can see, every podcast I've been on this week or watched that week, the numbers have increased because people want to hear what you have to say. So thank everybody in the chat for coming and check us out. If you haven't liked and subscribed on Newf channel, We would love to have you every week. You get the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll know every time we pop back on. So, or every time Newf has another thing, because he has more than one show to people. So, anyway,
Absolutely.
y'all have a great Sunday.
That's really funny. Speaking of that, I had a guy actually slam me after last week's Gaming After Dark because he found that the language and stuff was very adult, very vulgar. He was even shocked at some of the panel members, how much they were dropping F-bombs, that, and something else. Is really funny. And he left me the message in the chat, and I said to him, I said, I do apologize. That's how you took the show. I said, but it is Gaming After Dark. I said, and we run a different type of show there. And I said, why don't you check out Good Morning Xbox? Guess what? He came over, checked out this show. He liked it immensely more, and he subbed to the channel. I said, well, that's kind of why I have the two shows, and I'm very clear about it. If you don't like adult humor, sexual innuendo, stuff like that, Gaming After Dark is definitely not the place for you, right? And I make no bones about that. But this one is, we try it. I mean, sometimes we fail, and mostly because of me. Our humor, and sometimes we do drop a nasty word here and there because our emotions get the best of us. But yeah, so Gone Mad said, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But you know what, Gone, he was good about it afterwards, and to each their own. I totally understand where he's coming from. I wouldn't want people having their kids listen to Gaming After Dark, because we definitely get raunchy over there at times. Sometimes it's not that bad at all. Other podcasts are far worse, but hey, and anyway, I do digress. Anyway, thanks for the support regardless. We're going to get Axel in here. We haven't forgotten about you, Axel. I want to hear your thoughts on Rainbow Six, if you played it, if you plan on playing it. And I guess the biggest question as well, Axel, is do you think that Ubisoft is ever going to get back to a traditional Rainbow Six game like the Vegas series, which people are crying for? We want them to return to form. We want to see a campaign that you can play co-op, because I love that stuff. What do you think, Axel?
All right. So first I'll go the Extraction. Sorry. So the Extraction, I haven't played it, and I thought it was just going to be another escape game like it is in Gears. You have the escape levels in Gears, but I was wrong. It's way more tactical than that. I love that you don't have to use the same operators. I love that there's a healing aspect to it. It puts a deep level of strategy into it. And if you can assemble a good 3-man crew, you'll do each loadout in each level accordingly to it. So this plays right into my wheelhouse. I love that kind of gameplay. And I am very much into co-op shooters. I'm not like Scrub that likes to be the lone wolf over there. As you know, Newf, I'm not the greatest of first-person shooter guys, but I'm pretty okay.
Oh, you're confident. You're good.
Yeah. But PvP I love. PvE I love. I don't know. There's just something about beating an AI that, I don't know, it just makes me happy knowing that I took this computer that somebody programmed and I found a weak spot, like I cheese it, Now I know that cheesing is not the way to play it, but I accidentally discovering that kind of stuff is fun to me. So yeah, I do like it. I do like the Rainbow Six aspect of it, and obviously the shooting mechanics are tight. So I'm definitely gonna try it. It's more on my list. The more I hear about it, the more it sounds like, yeah, this is my kind of game. I should definitely play it. Definitely play it. So I think I'm gonna convince my crew to move over to Rainbow Six Extraction next week, and we'll give it a shot. Uh-oh.
I just brought you up solo. That's okay.
I thought everybody dropped out. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, on that one. As far as everybody crying and clamoring for a Rainbow Six Vegas traditional, we're still waiting on a Splinter Cell. So I don't think Ubisoft is going to listen at all. Ubisoft is always going where the money is, where the money to games as a service is. That's just the way it is. It's the way they're going. So no, I don't think it's going to come back. If Splinter Cell's not back, traditional Rainbow Six isn't coming back either. That's just my opinion. Do I want it to come back? Once again, I'm a campaign co-op kind of guy. Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to come back? No.
Well, it is sad. I hope it does. I hope that Ubisoft does listen and bring those games back in a more traditional form. I think there's places for both styles of entertainment, even if they dedicate one team to a certain format and another team to another. there's still space because they have amazing multiplayer too. The original multiplayer on the Vegas games was unbelievable. Now, I don't want them to go back to Vegas. I like them to do something else, but I think there's 100 million stories out there that can be told. I'd love to see a more traditional Ghost Recon as well, much more specialized in operators and, and the stuff that made the franchise great, as opposed to, like I said, taking the Assassin's Creed approach and open rolling the whole works of stuff. So, do I see a kitty? No, I thought I saw a kitty on Terry's screen, but I didn't. I thought I was.
No, I have the dogs in here today, and they're getting restless. They're getting restless. I got Luna over here is whining, and then I got the chocolate lab getting all up in my business. but I did want to kind of touch on what Axel was saying.
Go ahead.
When it comes to extraction, I know some people were going on about how there's not enough game modes. I mean, it just came out. It just came out. And they did already say that they're going to have more content come out already here in February. Right. Like, that's pretty impressive. Normally, when you get games drop, you have to wait 3-6 months before you get the content. So the game is not going to even be out for 1 month before they start dropping content for it. So I mean, that says something that they do care. They do want to give people more stuff to keep bringing them back to it. When it comes to Vegas, I think they will in time. I mean, all right, the dogs, but I mean, I know like Splinter Cell is something that people have been wanting, and they did say that they're going to bring it back. So it's just a matter of when are they going to do it? And right now, Ubisoft is hard up right now on, they don't have the numbers when it comes to employees. They've had a lot of, layoffs and a lot of people walk out. So it's going to just be a matter of time. They have to do a lot of rehiring, and it's going to be a while. We're going to have to wait. But I do think in due time, we will see those games make a return.
Nice.
The only way those games are coming back is going to be an NFG. What is it? NFT forms. Would you get the new Rainbow Six Vegas 3 NFT?
How about you, Delilah? Are you a fan of any of the particular Ubisoft games, like a Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell? Splinter Cell. Love the Splinter Cell.
Yeah, definitely Splinter Cell. I have a lot of original Xbox nostalgia when it comes to that game. It was like the first time I used a game with like a snake cam and being, using the night goggles and the infrared. So it's kind of I hope that when they do bring the game back, because they already said that they're, according to their tweet, that they want to bring that title back. So I hope it's good. I hope they keep some of that gameplay from the original games.
Excited that Ubisoft is finally at least bringing back. I guess it's a remake. I think it is, of Splinter Cell.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was pretty much saying, is that I'm excited that they're thinking about bringing that title back. But like Coolcat said, I mean, it's one of those things where it seems like it's kind of early. Like it's still kind of cooking. And they're still trying to build a team around the IP. So we'll see. I just, like I said, I hope it has that gameplay, that classic gameplay. Like, you sneaking up on someone, taking them out, and then like you check in the room before you check under the door before you enter the room and things like that. So yeah, I look forward to hearing more about it.
I mean, I had people in the chats before, they go, well, Splinter Cell, they haven't brought it back because those games haven't been selling. And I call BS. I think Splinter Cell has sold really well. I think the problem was there was a glut of them at one point where they went from coming out and being sort of really extraordinary to kind of like, okay, now they start to blend in, and that's always that danger. If you go too many too fast, people kind of lose that luster. And I also think the problem was their last game that they brought out was Splinter Cell. What was it called? What's the last one? I have it there somewhere.
Chaos Theory?
Splinter Cell. Oh, Blacklist. Splinter Cell Blacklist was the last one that came out. And it came out right at the end of the 360 PS3 era, right as we were going into the Xbox One. And I think people it just kind of came out lost in the shuffle, and people moved on to the next gen, and they didn't have a cross-gen version either. So people just kind of skipped it. And I think there was other games at the time that were just super popular, probably like the Call of Duty games or whatever. And that one got lost in the list. Plus the fact that they didn't bring back Michael Ironside for Sam Fisher. Remember, there was a lot of people upset about that.
Yeah.
right? And I think the other thing was the fact that Conviction, while I love Conviction oddly enough was my favorite Splinter Cell in the whole franchise. Some people didn't like it. Some people thought that Conviction was like it was kind of different.
Liked
That was the
Conviction.
one game he didn't have the goggles,
Yeah.
right?
I like
And
it.
people didn't like it, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I loved that whole, you know, when you do the objectives and you show up on the wall, and I liked the way Sam Fisher looked in that game, and I thought it was good. I love the mechanics, which carried over to Blacklist, but again, people didn't like the fact that Conviction kind of went off the rails a little bit,
Yeah, it did.
and I think there was a combination of those things that affected Splinter Cell.
I think another title Ubisoft game that I want to hear more details about, it would be Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's like where is that game?
Where
Like,
is
where
it?
is it? 'Cause I absolutely loved the first one. I thought even though the gameplay was super simple and kind of bare boned, it was still fun. I absolutely loved the story that they were trying to tell with that. The whole espionage type thing. It was really cool for what it was. And I think that was also another original OG Xbox game that was actually remastered, and I think you can get it digitally now. Like they kind of like updated the graphics a little bit on it. But yeah, I mean, from when they showed, I think it was like 2 years ago now, they showed Beyond Good and Evil 2, had this crazy open world. They showed like CG with Jade and stuff like that. And I'm like, where is that game?
Development limbo. My
Yeah,
God,
what's going on there? So yeah, I want to hear
I think
something
it's
about
been
it.
4 years. I think it was back in 2018 is when they
Oh,
announced it.
really?
Yeah.
See,
They
this whole
announced
COVID
it, yeah.
thing, like the whole, it's just the time blurs. Like I just like 2 years have gone by, and it's just like, where is it?
They announced it, I think, in 2018, because it was right after they had their big announcement for Skull and Bones that also hasn't come out. So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So now I'm even more, a little bit more reeling about like where is that game?
Absolutely. Well, Scrub Nurse, he had to bounce early as always. Duty calls. He had to get back to work. Again, Scrub Nurse's contact info is down in the description. I won't keep anybody any longer. I know we are now over the 2-hour mark, and it's about time to close the show. I don't want to keep let everybody get back to gaming and having some fun on this fantastic Sunday. So I'm going to let everybody get out of here unless you have any final thoughts. Does anybody have any final thoughts to close before we do our outro?
Well, I guess for me, final thought is thanks for inviting me on the show. I do appreciate it. I had a good time, and yeah.
Well, we're happy you came out to be here with us, and we'll definitely look forward to having you back again. As a matter of fact, probably the next time around, maybe I can see if I can hook up all of you ladies from GWG at the same time. It would be great.
I think that's only been done one other time. We had a crossover show with ILP long time ago.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the guys were saying last night, they were even commending our channel like for having you on, because they say you ladies don't get enough love, and I totally agree. That's a big reason when I said when we brought Terry in, streamers, lady gamers in general, just I tend to get lost in the shuffle. I don't know, but anyway, you definitely need more spotlight, and we're glad that we can share it a little bit as much as we can. So anyway, let's let everybody get out of here. So Delilah HD, let everybody know where they can find you when you're not hanging out with us nerds.
Well, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Delilah_HD. You can also catch me on Growing Gaming every Saturday at noon Eastern on the GWG Growing Gaming YouTube channel. Yeah, we're closing in on our 200th episode, so yeah, definitely check us out.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah,
that long.
And shout out to the ladies. I think I've already mentioned them like twice in this episode, but yeah, shout out to them.
Shout them out as much as you like. That's all right. We know they're listening, coming out to support. That's what it's all about, baby. Support. All right, let's get over to our other female who's on the panel today, Coolcat Terri. Let people know what's going down with you in the near future here.
All right, yeah, you can catch me on Twitch during the week at 6 p.m. Eastern till roughly about midnight. I play a pretty big assortment of games, so there's a little bit of something there for everyone for the most part. I also have my own podcast called Just a Glimpse. You can search for it on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or I also have it on my YouTube channel. If you want to hear more of a deep dive of my thoughts on the topic we discussed today, I do have an episode on there where I broke it down a lot more. about the acquisition, so you can check that out. And then you can catch me on Twitter at Coolcat_Terri, and my Twitter is mostly filled with indie game stuff. So if you are into indie games and you want to kind of see, the development process of some games coming out, you can always check that out. And every now and then I might get into a Twitter war with somebody, but it's not too often. I tend to ignore people on Twitter just because I don't want to get into that stuff. But sometimes I bite. But we'll see what happens.
Because better, Terry. You know that it's impossible to argue with stupid, right?
It is, but every now and then someone will say something, and then I'll bite on it. But I try to just focus on not engaging with people.
Totally. Well, applaud you for that. It's not always easy to kind of stay on your own path, for sure. So, going to be a man on a mission. Axel 1324, brother. Thanks for being here today. I know you're under the weather. And I could tell you sounded like you lost a little bit of that energy you normally have. But, hey, we want to wish you well and let people know where they can check you out. And that awesome little podcast that you run on Friday nights.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the energy today. Yeah, all I want to do is sleep. I'm being honest here, just exhausted.
Moments away. Don't worry.
But yeah, you can find me here on YouTube, Axel1324 Gaming, and on Twitch, Axel1324 Gaming. Here on YouTube, I am the host of the Iconic Video Games Podcast, where we only talk about games, no consoles, no services, just the games. Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can follow me on Twitch and on Xbox, just Axel1324, just how you see it right now on your screen. And thank you so much, everybody.
And as I said, all the links are down below. Big shout out to Cerebral Paul, Scrub Nurse, and Eternal Shaddai, who also couldn't be with us today because he is under the weather. We want to hope that Shaddai can make it back for next week. I know he's very disappointed that he couldn't make it today, especially with Delilah being on the show. But he wishes everybody well. And he's been in the chat, so we appreciate that he could at least keep his eyeballs open long enough to come out and say hello. Splendiferous, last super chat of the day coming in, $2 hot. GAD is an awesome outlet. It's not for the faint of heart. Indeed. Well, I agree with you there, but thanks for the love for both podcasts, whether you like one or you like them both, whatever. We appreciate the support. Like I said, we had a record GAD, I think, on Tuesday night, and now a record showing coming up in this one. So that is, I can't tell you enough from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the support. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's all it takes. Share it out. And yeah, we'll see you back here again next week. You know where to find me. Always in the gutter. Newf Nukem pretty much everywhere. My contact info is also in the bottom. And a big shout out to everybody who managed to show up for the community game night last night. We started out with the UK game time with Mr. Tushy Animated Evil. And my God, it was great. They played... they were playing Sniper Elite 4, which is a fun game. You definitely should try the multiplayer on that if you've never. It's pretty cool. We played that. Then we tried some of that Rocket Arena game, which, takes a little while to get into, but it's actually not a bad little romp. And from there, it transpired over to Halo Infinite, which was unbelievably fun last night. Record turnout for that. KJ, I know he's in the chat. He was there last night kicking some bum. And from there, we went into some Rocket League, and it was just a great time. It was a wicked community game night. If you've never been a part of one, do yourself a favor and at least check it out at one point in time because you won't regret it. All skill levels, lots of laughs, no, poop heads in there. Everybody's having a good time, and nobody really cares about K-death ratios and who wins and who loses. We mix up the teams. We have a good time. We laugh. It's a lot of fun. So we'll have another one again next Saturday, hopefully, if all goes well. But until then, everybody have yourself a great Sunday. Go 49ers. Woo! Glad they won. Enough football talk. Catch you guys later. Much love, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everybody.